Absolutely.
Hello, Internet.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another session. Here we are beneath the Dales in a place called the Deep Wastes, a underdark realm that has long been held by the Dark Elves, by the Drow. For as many as 4,000 years, they have been the dominant society here, and they've been the only society of any real note for um, about 200 or more years since the dwarven civilization of Teliamar breathed its last. But there's not much breathing being done here, except that which we are breathing, for our hosts are the dead. We interpreted a prophecy last week, a prophecy that was remarkable in the fact that it didn't actually say anything, but it alluded to a number of interactions with the undead, vampires and wights and other monstrosities. And while we didn't take the prophecy very seriously, neither did we completely discount it altogether. And we found ourselves coming into a tower of skulls, something that we inadvertently nearly avoided completely. But due to a series of random rolls, we found that our exits to the Underdark were beyond inconvenient, and we just went back to the Tower of Skulls and decided to try our luck with this situation instead. After finding bones scattered all over the courtyard out the front of the walls of the fortress that itself is built into the walls of the Underdark, the mountain bedrock that makes up Underdark floor and roof and wall, uh, we dared to trust the prophecy enough that if we spoke to them, as the prophecy suggested we could, then the dead would rise and give us access to this place, and so they did. It certainly wasn't that clear in the prophecy itself, but that's the way we interpreted it, and it turned out that that interpretation had some merit. We find ourselves now at a banquet. Vinegar has been served, and that is the best of the dishes. Mummified meats and long rotten vegetables, silverware covered in cobwebs and grime. This banquet is rich, but it's also very, very dead. Outdated by not years or even decades, but centuries old products served as if they were fresh. Um, and it doesn't apparently look like that's been an insult, an oversight perhaps, but the dead themselves are somewhat divided on the reception that they are giving you. A priest is fawning over you, the high priest of Kiaransali, dark elf god of undeath, and their choir, a triplicate version of a single singer, sings hymns to the goddess of the dead, while a brooding warrior, a spectral warrior with no form, watches on, just waiting for the opportunity for this to all fall apart so that he can start killing you all. And it seems apparent that the foot soldiers, who do actually have mummified flesh, purple fires glowing within their eyes, and those same purple fires light up their blades. It seems as if these warriors are just waiting for a chance to add you to the pile of the dead. Um, but for the moment, the figure of authority, the high priest, is entertaining you and trying to indulge you. Um, he becomes forgetful. Where were we and what were we talking about?
I
Is he
believe
alive or is he dead?
Oh, he's very dead. He doesn't have flesh. Um, he's basically a black cloak animated by darkness. If you look inside of him, if you've ever seen a shadow, well, we've all seen a shadow, but if you've ever seen an undead shadow, then it's darkness solidified, and that's what lies within. You don't see eyes or teeth or just blackness. What were we talking about?
You were telling us about the prophecy.
Oh, yes. And you have come to fulfill the prophecy. It will be you who leads the armies of the dead against the evil civilizations here in the Underdark.
That's be seeming the gist of it. However, can you do us a favor and walk us through this prophecy line by line and maybe encourage us that tell us how these things are coming true?
Well, maybe we can work through it together and see if we can unlock its secrets. For I am only new to the business of prophecy. Let us start at the beginning. There will come a time. That time is now! No? That time is now. It has now come. And now is the time. Do you understand? There will come a time. The time is now.
Aye, time is now.
Yes,
What about the next part?
the time is now. That is the time that is allocated to us. Ah, yes! Where is your daylight now? I could stoke the fire, and it would not make enough light to reflect the sun. No, no, no. The night has come, and it is eternal. Do you understand?
You be saying the Underdark
Yeah.
is the night.
Yes! Yes! He looks back at the spectral night. There, you see? The Underdark is the night! Ha! You see? It is the prophecy. And he looks back at you. And you can't see a facial expression on a pure shadow. It seems to be smog. This living cloak is. You've proven his point. You will have disadvantage on your insight check since he is just a shadow filled with cloak filled with shadow.
What about the next part?
The next part. Look, like you guys have just justified his whole religion.
Did he meet the DC on that?
Uh, a 23 would be hard to beat.
Oh, he had disadvantage, I think.
Oh, that's right. Good point. So an 18 would still be pretty hard to beat. 17 would be. It's pretty high roll. So
Okay.
so it's difficult to interpret a robe full of shadow, but this creature does seem to be excited by your revelations.
Aye, let's hear him out.
What part comes next?
The Screaming Spider Queen.
She screams, but now no one hears her scream. They have been muffled by her daughter. Her daughter has muffled her screams and her cries. And Loth is the spider. Do you understand? Loth is the spider.
Aye.
Aye! Yes, do you understand? He goes, looks back at the spectral fighter. Loth is the spider! And the spectral warrior, his eyes just glare ever more brightly with purple.
Can I like do a vibe check of if that's like just pure rage or like if he's starting to get into it?
Absolutely, you
want?
can make an insight check. You can see his eyes, and they're the only thing you can interpret. But we won't give disadvantage to that because he reveals a lot in those eyes. Precisely, he has a face. He's clenching his jaw ever more tightly. His eyes are burning brightly with wrath, and his desire to kill you is probably superseded only by his desire to kill the high priest. But we probably all had jobs where we want to kill our boss.
I kind of want to go like talk to him because he seems more interesting, but I wonder if he's just going to straight try to kill me.
The latter does look not impossible.
Although he might be slightly okay because I'm only semi-alive.
Fair point. And that is the prophecy.
Well, we're
Huh?
only halfway through it.
Oh,
We've already
yes, of
asked the dead
course.
to rise.
You have asked the dead to rise.
And who be the wise?
And who... Is that how it goes?
Aye.
Flightless, do your thing.
Yes. You shall ask the dead to rise. It shall be in a place of great darkness where daylight has died.
That's only the first 5 lines.
Yes. And see how much is already given to you. How much has already come true. Giving counsel to the wise.
If you only read the first part of a manual, you're going to fail inevitably.
Who be the
you
vampire?
Consider yourself wise, Ardip? For you are being counseled, are you not, Ardip? Are you not learning firsthand the truth of the prophecy? Oh, that spectral warrior. Considering he doesn't flinch, he somehow manages to project getting even more pissed off just with flaring eyes. The guy has mastered the flaring eye.
It's like, see, I believe you've misunderstood it. It says, when you, as in us, give counsel to the wise.
Yes. No. Yes. No. Your counsel is welcome here. And Ardip, I think that maybe he is the wise one being counseled today.
Is that the warrior?
Yeah.
But
does that truly matter? For if it were directed at you, would it not say that the fool is counseled? That the fool learns that he was wrong all along.
Yeah. Can I just like give the other guy a thumbs up?
And I'm gonna use my martial ability to eye people up, and I'm gonna eye the blue guy and see if he's a higher class than us.
Yeah, good call. And that functions on challenge rating as well, I assume?
What's that? Yeah. I mean, let me bring it up. Well, I could pick a bunch of things, and one of them is he a higher?
Oh, right.
It's higher or lower, but is he a higher class than know your enemy?
Yeah, it's a good ability. I'm really glad they gave that to the fighter.
Like that should be like a pretty good thing to size someone up if you spend all your time just brawling.
Absolutely, yeah. The man knows his trade.
I just have to spend a minute studying somebody, and then I can
cool.
know up to 2 things on them.
Awesome. So, which 2 would you like to be?
Fighter class level, if any. And total class levels, if any, for both.
Yeah, sure. All right. So it has no fighter class level specifically, but they are a how to put it? It's like this. I know this isn't exactly what the question answers, but it's a bit like this. He is a warrior, but not of the same class as a fighter. Like fighters are in a league of their own, right? Like gladiators and berserkers and knights. None of these can match a fighter. A fighter turns combat into an art form rather than a profession. So he, whatever martial class he is not a fighter. He's one of the lesser classes, NPC class, if you will. But as for total class levels, his hit dice are significantly above yours. So yeah, I think that's a good balanced way of answering both questions. Not as good professionally, but ancient and experienced and powerful. Um, and your match in other ways beyond just raw talent.
And what about
Hmm.
the cleric? Is he? I'm just going on class level.
Oh yeah, cool. And you've got a minute to do that as well. Like this doesn't
So- Yeah, I'm just
doesn't
doing it
really.
while people are talking, just
Yeah,
so
sure.
whenever it makes sense to add it back into the.
It's not once a short rest or per day or anything like
No.
that. Yeah, cool. So the priest. Hmm.
It's ability to size someone up.
Yeah, the priest is probably equivalent to you in terms of um, how would that? What's the better word to use that instead of a gamey term? In terms of sheer accomplishment, he's about where you are. Like if he was a living cleric, then he may have achieved a similar level of power that we have. However, again, like the other undead, he lacks the versatility of being an actual character class. It lacks the depth and the potential, and so ultimately is not as powerful as you. For while they might be as experienced as you, they don't have the depth of your versatility or the depth of a cleric's versatility.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Does Mo give anything to convey that to the others?
I'm just listening
Okay.
now. Let me I don't want to start telling you guys hey, whatever.
We could
But
take these guys, I think.
yeah, let's just continue going through. Who's the vampire?
Ah, the vampire. Ah, that is why you are here, I think. Well,
Who is the vampire?
our Ayatollah.
The what?
Ah, the vampire is all. The Ayatollah is always a vampire.
What's an Ayatollah?
The Ayatollah is the supreme leader of our faith, and the one who will be at the head of the army of Kiaran Sully.
But we are to see through their lies.
Yes, yes, she is not beloved.
But she's leading you?
Yes, you see, she triumphed over the old Ayatollah. We had a being of great faith. He has been here for centuries, millennia, a dark elf, like many of us. But he was destroyed by an usurper, and she now bears the title of Ayatollah.
Hmm.
You will see that she is false, and that under her guidance, a plan to conquer the Underdark will be a plan that will fail.
Where is she?
Ah, yes. She lies below. Would you like to meet with her?
I wouldn't say quite yet, unless anyone else wants to.
Perhaps when she sees that you have come, then she too will understand the prophecy, and she will finally have the zeal and the faith to join the war effort.
I thought you said she was trying to start this war effort.
She should be. That is the responsibility of the Ayatollah. So why does she hesitate? Why does she not commit? But when you have come to her and she has seen that you have caused the dead to wake and that half the prophecies have already been fulfilled, then she will know that you are the vehicle of Kiaranseli's wrath, and that the time has now come for us to spread across the Underdark and eliminate every Sith, every community, every traveler that we find. Yes.
I believe that's where the counsel to the wise may come in, but we'll get to that later.
Oh.
If we're good to move on, what about the sorcerer's smiles? Who would be the sorcerer?
Well. You hear the source. I forget what smile means.
Bare your teeth in a pleasant manner.
Bare your teeth. Like a dog?
Kindly.
Like a kind dog. When you hear the kind dog with the sorcerer, I do not understand this one.
Not sure we're giving counsel to the wise here. Yeah.
Which sorcerer does it refer to?
That's what we're asking you.
Well, where is the sorcerer? The one that bares its teeth like a dog. But how can you hear the teeth? Do they chatter? Fast way. I don't think so. I have not been to the surface since I was alive, and I did not go very often then.
Can I turn to the warrior and say, what of you, great warrior? Do you know of any paths to the surface?
I will kill you.
I'm sure in due time. However, do you happen to know?
He doesn't reply any further.
Okay. And then the rest of it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm pretty sure the eternal life thing. That's what we think it is. Yep. So after we make everyone else undead, we'll become undead.
That would be a very appropriate gift. A just reward for your service.
How many? Go ahead. I was.
More meat?
I was going to ask, how many have come to fulfill this prophecy before us?
He looks at the captain and looks back. The prophecy has never been fulfilled before.
Who has come here to attempt it?
No living creature has set foot within this domain for thousands of years. You are the first. The prophecy is for you.
Um. Hmm.
Ah, sure. Yeah, sure. At first you think you're onto something when you find some hair, but even this is ancient and has come from the heads of the whites. Yeah, nothing lives here. Not even like there is spider webs, but there's no spiders. Essentially, there is spiders and rats and bats and snakes can be found throughout this complex, but not in the places that undead linger. Only in the places that they avoid, because if they linger within the vicinity of, say, whatever this thing is, they just die. Um, the negative energy here is enough to kill even the hardiest cockroach. So this place is dead, really, really dead, um, and has not apparently been disturbed by the living for its existence.
Hmm. Is there just no reaction from the guy?
Ah, so what difference does that make? We can add them to the army of the dead. You will be with them for eternity.
Hmm.
That can be arranged if it is your demand.
Um. Can we ensure that all innocents that are not the opposing Drow forces not be added to the army?
If they are innocent of original sin, they shall be spared. Yeah, maybe some babies who qualify yet, but if they've ever cried, then probably not.
Hmm. Yeah.
You will meet with the
Um.
Vampire Ayatollah then, and you will tell her the agenda. They are. Most of them are. Yeah, not all, but most. Finally dawns on him.
Do
Oops.
undead Drow recall that?
Even worse. You must tell her that the prophecy has come, and her hesitations must end now. At least we agree on something, Ardeb. And the spectre's eyes do it burn perhaps a little less intensely.
Hmm. Um. Can I ask the? I want to ask the warrior what he wants because it seems like much of this he doesn't agree with.
I wish to kill you. I wish for a reason.
What do you wish? What did you wish before we stepped foot into this room?
I wish that I would never have to endure the scraping, nasally vent of living speech.
See, I don't breathe, so yeah.
You say that to him?
No, I won't provoke him any further.
Well, actually, sorry.
Yeah, I'm actually. Uh,
That's it.
hmm. What if we feel that we are not yet strong enough to fulfill this prophecy at this time, but we may return when we are properly suited for it? You have waited for 1,000 years. What is a few months?
The vampire Ayatollah. The time has come.
How long has she been sleeping?
I don't know if she has slept at all. How long has she been here? Years roll into days. I know not, but she is a new arrival.
What would a month or two be to that?
I was never good with months, even when I was alive, on account of rarely seeing moon or sun. She has been here for a matter of days at least.
What of an insignificant amount of time compared to what has been waited for thus far?
Ardip, what are they doing? Ardip, what are they doing? They are not leaving.
See, first you didn't want us here, now you don't want us to leave.
Now he wants to kill us.
Hmm. Can we do like an insight check on what he meant by that?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or perception, or oh yeah, that's dude. That's good.
Yeah, there is a bit of a contradictory message. You are not allowed to leave, apparently. Like, you are guests, and guests in the medieval sense, where we will decide your bedtime and who sleeps in which room. You are prisoners, guest prisoners. I don't know. You know how it is. And so this guy with the sword is kind of stoked now because it looks like you are going to resist your imprisonment, and that's great. That's fucking great because he finally gets to do something. Um, whereas the priest is like kind of insistent that there is a logical way forward here, and that is to go and speak with the Ayatollah and to tell her, look, wakey, it's time to go and kill all the people, um, and and the banshee, the choir, she just sings. She just keeps singing and singing lovely songs in three different chords, treble, bass, and soprano, singing all along. The glory of the goddess of the dead is very macabre. It's very gothic, but it's very good. She's quite talented.
Perhaps we can entertain speaking to the person in charge here, and if they've been reluctant to go this far, I doubt they'd be super stoked to start now. Maybe, because these guys, if we just walk out now, they'll probably just try to kill us. But if we kind of get a blessing from the Ayatollah, they can't really do shit about it. Do we want to try to fight our way out of this, or do we want to go humor
Well, do you
them?
want to? Do you want to go? I don't know. What does the paladin say? We
Huh?
don't have a paladin. How can we fight the undead?
Emma, 32 on the roll hammer.
I. We're on a ride on the crazy train. Let's take this as far as it'll go.
I guess we can vote on it. Who wants to leave and who wants to go and talk?
I'd be saying we shouldn't be massing our army down there and everybody meeting the vampire together. I think the odds will be stacked against us. These odds
So-
be looking pretty good here, don't you thinking?
Hmm.
You spoke to many vampires, have you?
What? Since Artisan is 8,000-ish years old, was this place around then? Because they said thousands of years. No? Okay.
No.
I was about to say, could I do a history check on that, but I guess not.
Yeah, you can do a history check on the religion or the society or something, but this specific castle is not that old.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I make one as well. If his doesn't. Oh, never mind. That's a gnat.
Pretty good. So yeah, just ask me anything specific, but I'll start with a general overview. Kiara Sully is the daughter of Loth, apparently, if assuming that gods have children in a conventional sense. She's the daughter of Loth and Corellian, who is the elven supreme high elf god. He's the god of being an elf, of using swords and casting spells and being handsome and shit like that. Loth and Corellian had a bit of a bad marriage, and they had a lot of kids, and their marriage eventually ended with him cursing her and she getting cast down into the Underdark, bearing the curse. And she got most of the kids. She got Kiara and Sally and Alistray and the other guy whose name begins with a V. Can't think of it right now. But anyway, Kiara and Sally is a god of death. And that never really meshed with the Drow society particularly well. So in some ways, she's a bit of a rebel goddess, a bit of a hates her mum type goddess because her mum's a bitch. But Kieran Silly has been very active recently, very active as a god. And it's thought that she, during the time of troubles, which was only quite recent, was among the most active gods in the world, getting out there and changing the metaphysical reality of the world beyond in very significant ways, but ways that have yet to come to pass. Sticking more with the history of things rather than the recent history, the Temple of Kiara and Sali have always been a very, very small organisation, very underground. A smaller number of attempts have been made to legitimise it and turn it into a proper temple, such as this thing that we've got here, this Fortress of the Skull, where there's priests and choirs and warriors and an Ayatollah. But it's never really gotten off the ground because the undead tend to be very solitary creatures and don't really have much need to go to church and discuss who's right and who's wrong about theology. And so at last, to wrap up that natural 20, unless you got further questions, is the Ayatollah themselves. The vampire Ayatollah ruled over this place for forever. They're an institution, and there's been more than one vampire Ayatollah, but it's always been a drow. The drow vampires have always come along and killed each other every couple of centuries or so on, and in killing the other Ayatollah, they become the Ayatollah. It's a a tribal chieftain style system of justice. Whoever's most powerful is most fit to rule, and that kind of backfired just a couple of years ago. And that 28 of history would mean that you'd heard this in the Drow slave markets or something like that. That backfired a couple of years ago when some itinerant vagabond vampire turned up, killed the last one, and became Ayatollah on account of the ancient laws of succession. Um, and well, the temple was always a joke to begin with. They're never really a serious church. How can you be a church when no one goes to church? It's a bit of a joke, really. But the joke got a whole new punchline when their supreme leader was replaced with some dude who just turned up. Yeah.
And then decides to do nothing with it.
Yeah, then that's right. Just sits around in the fucking in the abbey for who knows how long.
Hmm.
That's certainly a possibility. It's one that hasn't, I don't think, been discussed before. But what else can take out a god but another god? Sure. They are prophets, are they not? Do they not speak wisdom? Yes. It would seem that our goddess has shown that she is more powerful. But I ask you this: what is more powerful, a spider or death itself? The answer is death, for even the spider can die. You see, that is the answer: death, not the spider. The spider is not more powerful than death.
Spider, death. He just keeps reducing his sentences down to those two words. um. I think our best bet here would be to talk to him, or to fight. Well, I guess it might be on even footing. Yeah, because also he hasn't done anything in a while, so I doubt he'd want to do anything just because four fuckers showed up. You know. But we could get out of here as long as we make it out of the gate. I could do something to make sure they don't follow.
If that's what you'd be thinking.
The dead are going to sit here and wait for you to decide. Like if it takes a day, as long as you don't leave the dinner table, they're not going to care. Right? Exactly. Are they asleep? Is this what sleep is?
Listen, bud, you've taken like 1,000 years to start making decisions about this. You can wait a little bit longer.
But I am not clearing the table until they finish eating it. That's Dad has spoken. You're gonna have seconds. Exactly. How can you have any pudding if you didn't eat any mummified zombie flesh? Oh, that is wonderful news. They will meet with the Ayatollah, and soon we shall be at the head of that army that marches on Mayram Hydra, where we belong. Who? Everyone is dead because death comes to everyone.
Hmm.
Who did they kill? Us? No, no, no. I don't remember. Perhaps. Is that how I died? He seems pretty, yeah, pretty lost here and interested in what you have to say. Tell me how I died. The Shadow seems to find it troubling, but what he can recall was being a member of a minority religion, of a small group of aspirants who wanted to change the political landscape of the world. And ultimately, Loth and her priestesses played pretty prominently in that oppression, and the oppression seems to have the revolution rather seems to have failed, seems to have gone nowhere. Um, the exact circumstances of his death remain unclear. It looks as if the cult must have been willing to try anything, and whatever it was that they tried killed him or her, them, uh, and the vestiges of life have long since faded. Sure. Oh, absolutely. You can make it. It'd be a disadvantage though, finding such a. Yeah, most poisons are biological. Yeah.
Can I do an Can I
Yeah.
do an
So,
alchemy check on it?
yeah, that would work too.
Hmm. Unless this is good enough. Hmm.
There's no evidence either way. The product is so far gone as to be well beyond inedible. But you don't spot any traces or signs of toxin. This food is just exceptionally old, but it was once of the highest quality. Um, whether they kept it here because they had guests, or perhaps more likely they were necromancers who once served here. Whatever the case, the larders haven't seen fresh food in at least decades and probably centuries.
Hmm. Is there a sign of a battle in here?
No, there's not. The place is not kept clean. It's not. On the contrary, there's a lot of dust, but it has a museum-like, remarkably well-planned decorum. Nothing is out of place. It's just old and rusted and covered in web.
Hmm.
Yes. Open the door. And one of the whites walks over and falls at a secret passage, and something spins around, and he reveals a tunnel that leads down deeper into the mountain, I suppose, since we're in the bedrock of the Underdark at this point.
I have watched him open it and tried to remember the what he did.
Yeah, absolutely. He pulled on an old candelabra, and it activated a lever.
Hmm. Artisan's down with just talking to him. it could probably get him out of a fight with all these guys, maybe.
If you got the fine words to get us out of here without a fight, I'd like to see it.
How's Phoenix charisma? Because I don't think the rest of ours is good. Or how's yours, Mog?
That'd be my dump.
Same. Flightless, do you have a good charisma? Okay. Finnick might not be here fully. Oh, go ahead. That's your dump stat? Okay. The most semi-uncharismatic group. We might be able to talk to him. What do you want to do, Finnick? Because
anything that gets me out of the Underdark the quickest.
Let's go be having a chat with a vampire.
All right, then. Let's go have a chat with this vampire, then.
Yeah. All right. We do have to get past him, and he does not. He keeps his weapon sheathed, though it does flame within its sheath.
Awesome.
Steel Defender will just take a second to look at him and like kind of crane its body head and then just keep going.
All right. You head down deeper into the mountain, deeper into the Underdark, I suppose. Certainly deeper into the complex, and the stairs are less dusty than the banquet hall, and the corridors are less worn. When we go deeper, and ultimately this place is a little bit nicer, but that's in the loosest sense of the word. And you follow a staircase that doesn't get used very much until it opens up into a larger chamber up ahead. A chamber that is much longer than it is wide, maybe 30 feet wide and significantly longer than that. And it is lined with a red carpet. The red carpet has deteriorated over the centuries, perhaps millennia, that it's been here, but it's still a carpet. And combining the carpet with the ornate ionic pillars that are holding up the roof, and the well-carved stairs, and the more or less clean environment, ancient vases, and old drow runes carved into the walls that really mean nothing save glorifying Kiarenseli and death itself. All of these serve to mark a transitionary period between the relative hustle bustle of the area that we've come in, where chefs bump around and guards patrol, and you come down to a place that is much more lonely, much more quiet. And the smell of the earth is blended with incenses and herbs and spices, but they only are substance beneath the dirt itself that is still the biggest, strongest scent down here. So we come closer to the archway, and I assume that the marching order, and this might not be wrong, is Steel Defender, Moog, then Artisan, then Finnick, then Flightless?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So we don't have the Paladin at all anymore? Not as an
If
NPC?
if someone wants to control them, like you, for example, if you want to control them, then that's fine. They'll have an immortality clause, so they can't actually die, but
Since he was here last time and we're gonna go meet Undead, I think having a paladin would be helpful.
Yeah, sure.
I've never played
I'll,
one, so I don't know if any of you guys have.
All
I've only
right.
played a ranger, artificer, and sorcerer. So
Cool. I'll give character control.
could I offer to have because I have leather strips from the many animals I've skinned? Can I offer like leather bindings to what's his name, Moog, to try to like cover up bare skin? So if a vampire just comes out of a corner and tries to bite him, it'll have a bit harder time.
I'm pretty covered, man. I don't know if I have any.
Are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
dwarven plate, 25 armor class. I don't know if there's anything other than
Like-
the vital parts of my face that I can have to see with.
Bites on your eyes. That's
Yeah.
it, right? That drinks the blood from your cheek.
Yeah,
I guess
I
I'd
mean, it's
offer it
good.
to anyone in the party
Yeah.
then.
I guess we're like a leather scarf. But I don't think if the vampires around your neck, you have worse problems.
Huh. So you've come down this staircase. The hieroglyphs are on the side of the wall, the ancient carpets, the beautiful pillars, the old urns. And as you're preparing to enter into this new sector where you no longer have to walk single file and you can adopt shoulder-to-shoulder tactics, perhaps, someone calls out to you from within the darkness that is deeper even than your dark vision. Yoo-hoo! Don't you dare take one more step or I'll blast you.
I already love this vampire.
It kind of does. It kind of does. Yeah, I know, like I've only got 6 different accents, but no, I can clarify that the accent that this that you just heard is remarkably similar to that of like a local Dales girl, like Shillelagh. Yeah, that's good.
Do we stop?
It sounds like you stopped. Do you? Not one more step, or I'll blast you. Well, I'm not normally on the account of people rocking up for some shindig on my balcony and telling me that I gotta name myself. Who the hell are you?
What did we call our party? I forget already. That was like episode 1. I guess we can introduce ourselves in turn.
Who all are you? Something about destiny? That
Yeah.
don't sound like no name to me.
We can call it like a. I am an artisan.
Uh-huh. So, we got someone who don't fly, someone who likes painting.
Artisan is visibly upset.
And you got a dwarf.
Oh, you just like a Jane Eyre dwarf? You like your mining and your hard drinking, your beating your women, all that?
Is there any other ways?
Well, I don't know. Suppose every dwarf I ever met was a bit like that way.
I think the women be beating the men, though. I think you got
Huh.
that reversed.
Well, at least there's some justice in the world.
Is it a distinctly female voice?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, she does sound like she's from the Dales.
You be from the Dales?
Why you be asking?
Your
We
accent,
recognize your accent, yeah.
Well, turns out I'm a Marydale girl. You ever been to Marydale?
How far is it from Daggerdale?
Why, I don't know. Uh, Daggerdale. Yeah, that's what it's called nowadays, ain't it? Well, I'm from Marydale, back when it had an old name, just along the way from Shatterdale there.
You be the vampire the crazy cleric been talking about.
They call me the Ayatollah. Oh hell! Y'all got sent down by them upstairs. Uh, well, why the hell they gonna do that? I thought they sooner kill you. What's the use of being dead if you're gonna let someone else be alive? Make y'all jealous like.
They be talking about the prophecy and leading
Oh,
armies to attack the Drow.
I heard something about a prophecy. What, are you the prophet here come to convert me to a new religion? Hey, I'm already the Ayatollah. I'm not sure what else you got to offer me.
We, for now, we can say that we do not come here as enemies.
Well, if you take another damn step forward, you'll be making one.
So what should we be telling the cleric who sent us down? We're kind of stuck in the hallway here.
Yeah. Would you be able to give us permission to depart?
Well, hell, I demand that you depart. Get the hell off of my property.
Depart with our lives? Uh, I want to get that answer. Will you allow us to depart with our lives?
Why the hell do I care about your lives? I tell you what, I'll give you the authority that you seek, but I deserve something in compensation.
Uh,
It ain't much.
Would it be?
Well, sounds like y'all got quite the party going on out there. Uh, I was wondering if maybe I could get a little bit of each of you for, record keeping like. Fond memories.
as in our lifeblood?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm glad you thought of it.
You get pushed hard.
Why, I would be positively insistent that each of y'all just give up a little bit of your blood that I can, understand what's going on in the world out there. Your memories will be passed through to me and I'll get a little bit of insight. You might say that it would be a little bit inside me. Wouldn't that be nice?
I don't be thinking that'd be nice at all.
Oh,
Would
hell.
you need it directly?
Sure would.
We got a paladin that's not going to give his blood to a vampire.
All I'm
Probably.
asking for is a little kiss.
Hmm.
And what
Why,
would we
don't
be
you think?
getting in return?
Well, you'll be keeping your lives, and you won't all have to go up there and tell everyone, well, I'm sorry, but, well, we want to go home now, and they'll be like, well, I'm sorry, but you ain't all going home now. This is your home now, so why don't you sit down and enjoy yourselves?
Is there another one?
Oh, ain't you something special? I kind of want you to come a little bit closer now.
Would Artisan know if Warforged blood is toxic to other beings?
Probably in general, but there have not been the vampiric experiments into the consumability of Warforged blood were always inconclusive.
Hmm. I'm just imagining like she takes a bite and just fucking croaks. That would be hilarious. I guess not. What if I made you something?
Well, I don't know what you're going to make me. It's going to be more interesting than the very reason I exist.
Perhaps the weapon for you to get more of that reason to exist?
I
I am
already
one
got
of
a fancy
the...
weapon. It's pointing right at you right now.
Hmm.
Oh, it ain't a crossbow, dear. It's something a little more special than that.
Hmm.
You asking the party? Do you have a way of asking that?
Okay. Hmm. I would pass that along then.
Oh, hell no. A girl deserves a kiss the first time she meets on the balcony. That'll add up to about 4 so far, wouldn't it? 3 or 4.
3, yeah.
Oh, but you've made multiple voices with your crow voice. So yeah, that's a good point. And they answer each other's sentences. So what's going to be then? Y'all gonna back away and try to take a gamble with the priest upstairs, or gonna give little old me just a little kiss? Why, we're neighbors, ain't we? Just think of it like me borrowing a cup of sugar.
And I guess internally, I guess he would recollect, did she say in saying that if you give us the blood, blah, 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 I'll let you go with your lives?
I don't think she's made anything quite so formal as a proposal.
Hmm.
All right, boys, let's be turning around. I think we got some work up there.
Oh, that's real sad like. Oh well.
It's been a pleasure.
Can't go and shoot you now, can I?
That wouldn't be neighborly like.
Would not be neighborly at all. What would my poor dead father think?
Exactly. Well, we'll be going back now.
All right then. Well, it was a pleasant meeting you. You certainly broke the monotony.
Let me know if you need something crafted.
You get pushed hard again.
He's like, what, man? I just want to use my tool.
Let me know if you kill all the priests up there.
Send you a postcard.
Well, they was kind of nice.
She mumbles to herself loud enough for us to hear.
Dude. The one party member without having a drop of blood is the one offering it up. All of ours.
It's a vampire. What else do you think she wants?
Here we go.
All right.
As long as we get out of the gates, I have an artisan plan.
It's not done. The shadow seems confused and it looks back at what does this mean? It means we can finally kill them. Oh, but the prophecy.
Wait, I have an input here, Mr. Dead Person. See, we haven't got up to the last bit when you last swallow your pride. That's when we return. So you just gotta let us leave to finish the prophecy.
Something about a
but-
lion vampire.
Did
We
did
heard
you
the lamp.
did you see through her lies?
Aye,
And
like through glass.
and so what did why is she still alive?
She be saying,
Prophecy doesn't-
No. You must go back down and kill her. For
ah,
she is obstinate. She is not participating in the grand scheme. Go
aye,
downstairs and kill her and retrieve her crook and bring it to me and I will have the crook. And when I bury the crook, I will be Ayatollah. This is what you need to do.
Does the prophecy say that?
If you interpret it right, it is exactly what it says. Look, when you see through the vampire's lies, and when you hear the sorcerer's smiles, I will smile, for I am Ayatollah. That's his prophecy.
can you give us any help there to bring down, fight the vampire? We don't have as many arms as you do up here.
We cannot do it. Would be an unholy and seditious to act against the Ayatollah.
Plotting against is okay.
I think we'd be stuck between.
But then he'd just try to kill us.
He'd not be doing that.
Can we try to persuade him?
We invited the white to fight by our side. And you said no, you're breaking the. You saw through the vampire's lies.
What? This.
You're breaking your
Can-
prophecy.
They did. They invited. You saw it. The prophecy. It is very true.
We haven't had any whites fight by our side.
We'd be inviting. When the
We
fates,
also haven't. Go ahead.
when the fates, you shall decide. How about the game of chance?
Oh, is that what that prophecy means?
In a certain interpretation of it, it does. Throwing that back at him.
I got me some bone dice. So we say, lead the fates. See if the fates say we should go back down, or the fates say we
Yes,
should be leaving.
the prophecy will then be proven once and for all.
The fates can also tell us if we need to seek the sorcerer's smile above ground or here.
Ah, can it? The dice will tell us this too?
The dice will tell us. Let's see what the fates say. Should we decide, lads?
Yes. Let us prove the prophecy by enacting the prophecy. The fates shall decide.
All right. We'll roll the dice. If it's an odd number, we'd be going back down. If it's the even
Yes.
number, we'd be leaving.
Yes. Roll your dice. You are dicing with death.
If you roll
You rolled-
it,
You rolled 2 dice. You got both results when you rolled 2 dice. That does not sound fair.
I said the dice, not the die.
What is the difference?
I think we'd be taking our leave now.
Now you will
The
die.
fates. Your prophecy be wrong. You don't be looking like you're smiling now.
The prophecy. No, it is you who are wrong. You are very wrong.
Your fates.
Captain Ardent, kill them all. I cannot. You must kill them all! You have waited to kill them since their moment of arrival. Now I demand it! You do not give the orders here. I am giving you the order right now!
I say your prophecy be failed.
No!
It don't look like you be Ayatollah.
Just beginning!
with
I will be Ayatollah! And it will be through your hand!
with like their conflict going on, can we start striding to the door?
You can. And when you get to the door, the swordsman raises his sword and seems to give some commands for the door to be opened.
Thanks for the supper.
No!
Good luck with your prophecy.
I will see you on the battlefield, and when you are killed, you will not be raised. You will just add your soul to my fuel.
Yep. Alrighty. Don't act suspicious. Just walk out like we own the place.
The whites give you an honor guard as you leave. The zombies just basically get in your way, but you bump them out of the way. They don't seem to be particularly hostile against you, and if they are, you're able to cut them down with any further ado. And you make it out into the great Underdark courtyard beyond, where an army of the dead waits your apparent command, 100 skeletal soldiers or so. And the gates close behind you. And the prophecy is either denied or came true in spite of itself. And I suppose that's the beauty of, astrology and tarot readings and so on, is as long as you interpret it a certain way, you'll never actually be wrong. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, so it's still ongoing and therefore can be fulfilled.
Once we walk out of the gate, can I cast Arcane Lock on it?
Sure.
No.
Well, it can't be opened again unless we give the password, unless we make it plus 10 to the DC.
Let's be leaving.
It's 25 GP of gold dust.
Yeah,
Do we have round gold?
Let's leave. We should just leave.
We'll just tell the army to wait for us. We'll be back. Let's hang around, boys.
We're gonna get cigarettes. Bye, Dad.
As you were.
The zombies and skeletons don't seem to be bothered by your departure.
Like, oh, what's another 1,000 years?
That's right. I'm getting paid by the hour anyway.
Just like phantom coins, just clinking to their pouches.
It's all going to their Bitcoin accounts. I'll never see it. All right, we're back in the Underdark, which is exactly where everyone wants to be. We can retrace our steps if we want and go back to that acid pool, or we can just find a random passage and veer off down it, which is not as terrible an idea as it sounds, since it was a random passage who got us here in the first place.
I think random passage be the way to go. Stay away from the pool.
Was there an exit on the other side of the fort? Because one
not
side
as
was
far as
that
we got.
passage.
Yeah.
Can we explore that side, or can I send my bird that way?
Oh no, there's no open doors or anything like that. Yeah.
No, like caves going out.
No, there's no caves going out. So we've got the option of either going back towards the acid pool and finding a random tunnel along the path and following it. You know, maybe the second largest tunnel as an example. Or we can go back to the lake where we abandoned the goblins and where we met with the ferryman and see if that leads anywhere. There's not a greater chance necessarily of one being better than the other. The main difference is that one is wet and one is dry.
I'd say we could probably just take a random passage because from what the goblins said, there was only 2 other avenues of exit. This was one of them. So there's obviously a way this way, and we've already crossed the obstacle.
Uh-huh. I mean, the shortest answer is no. But Artisan, I think, established last week that he did have some capability of keeping track of distance and so on. And so you think you're probably beneath the Desert Mouth Mountains.
And we have been adjusting the mud map since that thing. So if we reference that, because it was pretty close, we can probably reference the rest.
The only problem is that, whether you go lake or path, is that they both have the same chance of going east as the other. Moving in a vague easterly direction is a great idea, and so we could pick one of the easterly passages instead of the westerly passages, but that's really still completely 50-50. Just because something goes west for 100 feet doesn't mean it goes east for the next 1,000 feet. I think you understand. I know this is not helping the solution. On the contrary, it's kind of just making whatever solution you do come up with. Just the reality is that either of them are as likely as the other. Yeah.
Mm.
Why not, right? Like, that's a sensible decision, I think, yeah.
Is there any magnetic rocks or stone?
Like, there'd be some iron, if that's what you mean.
Or
Magnetic,
like
but not magnetized, you mean?
Yeah, like any magnetized rocks. Would there be any of that?
Not necessarily. Yeah, not necessarily. And this is like an open courtyard here. They're at the front of a massive castle. There are scraps of armor and stuff like that. I suppose it's possible that some of it could have become magnetized. Seems pretty unlikely. Make an investigation roll.
Okay. Can I have an advantage with people helping?
Yeah, if we even want to do this though, you're searching through the area that the skeletons were just inhabiting. Because if you're going to find a metallic rock anywhere, it's got to be in amongst the junk that used to be their buckles and spearheads and helmets and so on. So you're literally going to be like searching amongst skeletons if that's what we're doing.
Hmm.
And you can have advantage if someone's willing to give you a hand.
I can have my Still Defender do the search action.
Yeah, sure. And so, like, the party sort of shuffling their way through all of these undead who just stand rigidly with their spears and their shields and their swords, picking up their belt buckles and their shoe horns and their loose coins. Yeah, sure. All right, sounds like you are. You find a polarized coin. It has a magnetic head. Like heads is positive and tails is negative.
Hmm. I want to, I guess, get like a wooden dowel and bind that metal thing to it, and then set it on the water and hold the center of it, and the end should point towards north.
Yeah, cool. You got your very basic compass, and it pretty much keeps you traveling east from here. The lake is more easterly than the initial tunnel is, but we could find a tunnel that leads east, just as we could head directly east and go to the lake.
Okay. All right, then I'm fine with just going then. I just wanted to get a sense of direction, like a solid sense of direction there.
For the record, our searching through the skeleton's junk didn't seem to bother them at all. Like.
Be funny if there was a magic item in there.
It could have been.
Another investigation.
Indeed. Alright, you have returned. So we leave behind the Skull Fort, which must rate as pretty much the largest non-event in the campaign so far. And we are now back in the Underdark, which is probably the second largest non-event in the campaign so far. We still have not yet decided if we're going to the lake and trying to search for a passageway there. I'm not sure if you have any ideas for how you might find one, or if we're just going and randomly discovering a passage that is both large enough to accommodate us and seems to head east and taking our chances.
Yeah. But this was one of the three passages that the goblins said there was a route out of. So there is a route out of here to the surface. We just need to find it. Did I find anything, by the way, for that 24?
Yeah. Oh, you mean like magic items? No, absolutely not.
Okay.
You find lots of necromantic bones that are assembled in what we would call a skeleton.
All right. Are we trying to cross the lake again, or do we want to go down a tunnel? Could I use my Mason's tools to see if there's maybe a secret passage?
Yeah, sure. But every 10 feet takes a couple of minutes of searching. There's maybe 10 minutes for 10 feet, or even if it's just 1 minute for 10 feet. That's going to slow what would be 2 seconds of movement down to 1 minute of movement. So you can do it, but searching the Underdark randomly for secret doors is a strenuous affair that well suits people who don't sleep or eat, I suppose.
Okay.
Unlikely to ever have romantic relationships. Hope that doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Artisan has an existential crisis where he thinks about how he doesn't have a cock.
No cock, no problems, bro. Anyway. Alright. So Artisan like comes up with these great ideas that we should search every last sheath and coin sack and helmet for something that might be magical. The party's like, dude, all right, you found a magnetic coin. All right, we'll humor you. And he comes back and says, okay, guys, my third great idea is now searching every 10-foot section of stone for some passage that might lead us to the surface. And at that point, people take the decision making out of his hands.
Let's go then.
And we pick a passage rather than the lake, by the sound of it. Passage vaguely to the east. Mr. Finnick, Miss Finnick, would you please roll some dice and beat the god of death at her own game?
Instead of D70, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, I'm glad you remembered because I did not. 22. All right.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and we went straight with the D70 at Jake's suggestion. So I'm going to blame Jake for this. Could have rolled a D12.
I just thought that was.
Well, that's right. That's much better result. So I'm glad that that's what you thought. It suits my agenda terribly because I don't. That way, I'm not to blame. Jake is to blame. All right. In any case, it's audible. You hear the sound of rocks crumbling. Now we've gone a couple of hours in. I should address. Do we have food and water for this shit? No, we're dying.
You said the food was abundant. We have someone that has the foraging capabilities.
Very cool. Food has been quite abundant here in the Underdark by Underdark standards, which is not
Fish.
as good as right. Mushrooms.
Keto.
Exactly. That's right. This is the real paleo diet. This one. Yeah. Certainly ain't no supplements. Very good, very good. So that's under control. It's cost us a few hours to first go up the acid passage, then come back, then to linger inside the zombies' castle, then come back. Now pick the next biggest passage that happens to go to the east, and this one doesn't go far east, so we backtrack and we find one that goes to the east. Oh, look, this one goes a couple of miles east without really changing. That's great. That's what we want. Crash! Rumble, grumble, grumble. Who knows how far up ahead? Let's call it 1,000 feet. Give it a nice round number. 1,000 feet up ahead in the direction that we are traveling, there is the sounds of rocks falling. And then a few more fall up.
Does it sound natural, or like something is chipping away at the rock?
Perhaps a nature check. Does it sound natural?
Okay.
Would a dwarf know by default?
A dwarf can do stone cutting check. They have a special built-in skill for this.
Right.
Yeah, do that.
I will do that. As soon as I find out.
Rumble, 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 rumble.
Stone conning.
All right. So, make a history check that you are proficient in, and you double your proficiency bonus. It's like D20 plus 6 or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Just make a normal history check and add an extra 3. Doesn't sound natural because it keeps recurring. Like, it sounded like a rumble followed by a number rumble, and if it was aftershocks, you'd feel the aftershock. So if an earthquake caused this, which is perhaps maybe the most logical reason that rock falls happen in the Underdark, then everyone knows when there's an earthquake because you feel it. Right now, there's multiple rock falls and 0 earthquakes. And they just keep going. Seems that every, 10, 12, 20 seconds or so, there's another one of these rock falls.
How far away?
It's in the direct... Oh, gee. I said 1,000 feet. It's probably half of that. It's probably 500 feet.
I think we should wait here and send up a recon. Something stealthy.
My bird can probably do.
Don't we have a ranger?
Yeah. You said this tunnel was straight, right?
No, it's not straight. No.
Okay. Is it like? Can I see if there's any excrement on the walls? Like
Yeah.
to see if there's something burrowing through.
Absolutely. Yeah. So make an investigation check or a survival.
Oh. One second.
All right.
1 6.
Bats pass through here from time to time, but no bats lair here. So there's a little bit of guano, but no creature lives in this vicinity.
With that, can I see if this tunnel is old?
Yeah, it's pretty old. Yeah, it's pretty old. It's a natural lava tube. It's probably been here for thousands of years.
Okay. And I guess we
Yeah.
can send up our ranger if he'd like to do some sneak stuff.
Yeah.
Ranger, as you're setting
Pass
out.
without trace.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I don't really mind. Can make pretty much stealthy people not stealthy. I mean, the other way around. Unstealthy people stealthy.
Sounds good. Pass without trace will affect you both. So. Yeah, Kinku's a great sneakers.
Squeaks on the
That's pretty,
basketball court.
pretty outrageous. That's huge.
That hurts my feelings that it's less than yours.
So as these
Well,
men disappear into the darkness, as you disappear into the darkness and can no longer be seen around the edge of the corridors and the twisting tunnels and so on, there comes a roar. It sounds furious and not quite biological. As if you imagine you roared through an accordion, and so it was discordant on multiple sounds, or roared through a harmonica, a lion through a harmonizer, and that's the terrifying sound that they are approaching, but we can no longer see them anyway. So Finnick and Carrick, are you perturbed by this discordant scream?
I reckon it's that dwarven thing just digging away. We're just going to have a closer look.
You get a bit closer, and you see flashing lights. Those flashing lights are accompanied by rock falls. Like a flash of light goes off, rocks start falling, roars are emanating, and more roars match those roars, and another flash happens, and then more rocks fall, and more roaring. It's pretty dramatic. Yeah, maybe not. Because TNT tends to have an explosion. There's no explosion. There's just a flash of light, a roar of bestial anger, and a rock fall.
It's only like
Absolutely. Probably one of those squirrels that have lasers in their eyes. Probably a laser squirrel. Though it does sound a little bit discordant. They don't tend to have discordant roars. So maybe it's not a laser squirrel. No, it's not like it's not a bear. It's not a wolf. It's whatever it is. It's funky, and whatever they are, they're fighting. Get closer.
Yeah.
All right. At last, there is a roar that one might interpret as triumphant. After a flash of purple light causes one last scream, and it's not followed by any further rock falls, any further retorts. And we come around a narrow corner where the corridor is mainly only 5, 6, 7 feet wide, and it opens up into something at least twice that, maybe bigger, 15, 16, 17 feet broad. You see a creature that is superficially just an eyeball. One enormous eye, some 4 or 5 feet tall, levitating over another creature that is also just an eye. These two creatures have mouths near the base of their eyeballs and several tentacles, some of which have been blasted off apparently in their conflict. And one of them has just been annihilated by the other. It's been blasted straight through with some kind of disintegrating ray. And the other one is really heavily wounded, though. It's lost a few of its eyes. Its central eye is buggered up and bleeding, and it's kind of deflated, like someone took an orange and squished it really hard. But it's roaring in triumph. Yeah! Now who's the superior beholder? I alone am perfect.
I'd like to take an action to equip my Beholder Shield.
Excellent. Less than 500 feet.
I think we probably can, even with their like heavy armor, we could sneak them back up here with the maybe a disadvantage and then just all attack it at once. Can like make our way back and get them.
All right. We'll set up a cave. So yeah, the scouts return to the party and they're like, "Hey guys, I know that you haven't picked the spells to fight beholders today, but if we had the chance to fight a beholder, then roll for initiative."
Say that in game.
Yes, roll initiative. I bring out my D20 set and I'm like, this is my lucky one.
Here we go.
I'd like to also take an action to just quickly summon my dragon.
Good idea.
To to an element, but I can't remember what elements I can pick.
I was going to say before that it's the reason he got better stealth check was because he's all inky black feathers and you're a fluffy white bunny. So,
That's the only difference. Like this, it wasn't skill; it was just for the end of appearances.
I'm trying to guess. Can I do like a history check? I don't know what sort of damage beholders do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to give myself a resistance to something useful, but I have no idea what they do.
Yeah, we go. Yeah, you go and make a nature check or a history check or something. And 1 is fantastic.
Yeah, it's not plus the 10.
But you get a total of 1. Yeah, they can do anything. They cast wish at will. That's their real power.
I get laser
Can we
resistance. That's obviously what they
Yes.
use this one, guys.
since we
Laser is
fought
radiant
alongside and against one, could we fill him in on it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. We're experienced. Like when you fight and kill one beholder, you become an experienced beholder fighter. Most people don't get that far. Yeah, sure. So what do you like? What do you think that is? What are your tips and tricks? Shoot. Freaking laser beams.
Okay, I'll summon in a fire dragon then. Flying a fire dragon. Now let's go kill this thing.
All right. No, that's fine. You're able to make it. Unless you mean back to the beholder. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Everyone will need fresh stealth checks, and I think pass without trace would mean that we could all benefit
I
from
think
that.
it's 30
I
feet
think
around
that's
me, right?
right. Yeah, huge, absolutely enormous.
Proceeds to fail.
Forgot I had the +10.
Oh, plus 10. Then that makes it 20. Or does it take more than? And 17.
Then that would be 23.
That's pretty enormous. All right. All right. That's fantastic. 15 is not terrible. What's our second lowest?
I think it's my 17.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So I in groups I tend to like ignore the outlier, the lowest, and go with the second lowest. Kind of like an assumption that our biggest fuck up is prevented. You know, whether it's kicking over a glass or setting off a trap or something like that. I think it's good to get rid of the outlier. So 17. Perception is going to be. Oh, that's enormous. It is all eyes, literally all eyes. And so, by the time you guys are coming around the corner, it's ready and waiting for you. And you know that because it stopped gloating in deep speech. Does anyone have deep speech, by the way? No, I didn't think so. Just, who knows? Maybe you do. And so the creature is gloating in deep speech, and it's apparently waiting for us. It knows that we're coming. We know that it's there, and this is a pretty severe standoff that we've got happening here. Once we come around the corner, we'll be exposed to its eye rays or its anti-magic field, perhaps, and um, and that's going to be bad.
We can try whatchamacallit, and congratulating it on its victory. Try some flattery. Do we want to try that flattery bit, or do we just want to try to fight it? I'll do it. I guess I can yell out, "Congratulations on your triumph! You're truly a mighty warrior."
What language do you speak?
I'm just gonna go with common.
All right, it answers back. Can
Can I try dwarven? Can I just do a thumbs up?
A disintegration ray shoots the rock near your thumb.
Noted. Yeah. Okay. Is that the damage it just did to the rock?
Maybe.
It's caving in.
That's 4, 5, 6, 9, 10.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
All right, yeah, let's get into it. Sure, I wasn't sure if that's what was happening, but I guess we've come to acid lakes and necromantic armies, and it's like fuck a wounded beholder. That's it's not going to get any better, is it? This is as good as it gets. All right, let's just do the half dead beholder then. That'll do. No
Can I
wonder the
have?
goblins didn't want to come with us, right?
Yeah. Can I have exchanged my shield for my bow?
Yeah, you got all the time in the world. Like
Okay.
we are starting this, but as soon as we head around the corner, he's waiting. It's waiting. She is waiting. Anyone playing a paladin? Yep. So click on the token. Roll for her separately. Maybe you did, but maybe you didn't have a token highlighted or something. Right, cool. So I'll just add her in, and you can make the manual adjustments so that both of the characters are accurate. Cool. Cool. All right. So that's right. We're all ready, even though the beholder's looking at us. We're all able to get a drop on it. So Finnick, it makes sense that you would be the spark that starts this fire. Um, we're all currently assumed to be in a place that the beholder can't see, which is why it hasn't disintegrated us. So I'm not going to fill out the dynamic lighting for this scene. You can see where the cave is, and maybe the Drake is like back here or something because I don't know. But the point being that none of us can see the beholder. Finnick, what are you going to do?
Guess it's time to get into the fight.
Yes,
Did you take the dodge action and then move? You still dodge, right?
yes, that's right. Yeah, it's good to start it first.
That is what I will do.
All right.
Moving through difficult terrain, and a ranger doesn't do difficult terrain. Is that cancelled out or no?
I haven't thought of that, but it would. But in this situation, we'll ignore the difficult terrain as well. But yeah, I hadn't thought of that, and we'll say that can be fine. Because I think that's an accurate rules as written understanding. Yeah.
So I'd like to move 35 feet to there.
Do you have any magic items that are functioning?
Yes.
What do they do?
It's my anti-beholder shield.
Right, that's fine. That doesn't stop functioning. What about spells? Do you have any spells on you? Pass without trace.
Yes. I don't really...
Pass without trace stops. Not that it matters, but it does stop. You're no longer. You start leaving footprints and making noise, whereas a second ago you weren't. Any other lingering effects like goggles of night, something like that?
I just have the shield and a +1 rapier. Other than that, nothing else magical on me.
All right, very good. Artisan, you watch as Finnick runs out, and is that the end of your go?
I was just going to move the dragon as a bonus action.
Excellent.
And that's me.
All right, so Finnick comes out, and she's going to be pretty vulnerable out there, unless someone goes out to support her. She's likely to get the full wrath of the beholders. Fury.
I will head out. Let's see. I guess I'll head to right there. And my Steel Defender will head out. My other thing is in my pocket and not in conflict. Ooh, I can actually just make it all the way. Wait. No. I want to make him dash up.
Alright. Do you have like Eyes of Night or something?
I do have Goggles of Night, as well as an Amulet of Protection and the Ouroboros of Arcane Defense.
Alright.
Are those all shut off?
Looks like it. It says magic items. The properties and powers of magic items are suppressed. Yeah.
What about magic weapons?
Yeah.
Okay, so
They count as items. So it is no longer a magic weapon. Doesn't get the +1 and all that sort of stuff.
does that mean also our magic gear as well?
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Okay.
If a magic weapon's powers and properties are suppressed, if it is used against a target or wielded by an attacker, the magic weapon it ceases to be suppressed as soon as it exits.
Okay.
Yeah. So your magic doesn't work.
Shoot, I forgot to make an attack. I guess we can leave it. Unless you'd permit an attack.
Did you take an action?
I did not. I just ran up.
Yep, and it wasn't a dash. It was.
It was just a 30 roll.
Yeah,
Oh,
if
30 run
you
up.
haven't used your action, then go ahead and use it. We haven't moved on yet.
Okay, then I will shoot my short bow at it.
All right, your non-magical short bow.
It's 23 hit.
Sure will.
Shooting it again. Does an 18 hit.
Sure will.
10 damage in total.
Okay. Couple more arrows added to the Beholder's extensive collection of injuries, which has taken out 5 of its eyes. Alright, Moog. Ignore the double movement for moving through allies for this encounter.
Can I also note that for, I guess, future, if they're noting their armor, it's a +1 because it's a non-magical +1 at the very least.
Ah, good call. Alright. So Moog runs up. You able to get that far and still attack?
You're muted if you're talking, Moog.
Sorry, guys. So that was
No
the so when the fighter gets that extra movement thing when he uses it once, action surge.
Oh, did you action surge? Did you? Yeah, we didn't
Yes.
hear. No, we didn't hear you action surge.
All right.
Like because it was muted. Yeah, absolutely. If you use your action surge to get up there, then that will work, and the beholder will be quite surprised at just how quick on your feet you happen to be. But a 12 is not going to be enough.
I think I get 2 attacks.
Excellent.
As a fighter.
Bam. That's pretty good. And the second one draws some more blood. And the beholder is so shocked that it responds. Oh, but it can't, can it? It can respond against the steel defender. It is going to shoot the steel defender with one of its legendary actions. It uses an eye ray.
Jesus Christ. Overkill, bud.
Can't use it on anyone else because everyone else is in the kind of magic zone. Now I have to go back up to those numbers. 4, 5, 6, and 9. 3, 7, 8. Okay. 8, 0, 10. Okay, cool. So this is bad. Hit you with a death ray.
Aw.
Yeah, I know, right? It's a creature, so he has to make a dex save.
Is a construct a creature?
Sure is.
Okay. How do you do
Yeah.
death saves on these guys?
It says it's a dex save, so just
Oh,
press the
dex.
dexterity. Yeah.
Sorry, wrong one.
All right. Unfortunate. Let's see. This is going to be pretty predictable, I reckon, as his life force is drained completely from
1 HP.
his body. He's still on 1.
Yeah.
Really? That's enormous. Wow. I'm quite surprised. And it lines you up with its next eye ray. Um, as Flightless takes their turn. That's right. We're all suppressed, including the creature. Which I think doesn't. If it was a summoned creature, I guess they're not summoned creatures, right? Like these drakes. I don't think they count as summoned creatures. I think it's just a creature that is summoned, and there's a distinction. Because if it is a summoned creature, it can't appear. Yeah, an object or a creature or object summoned or created by magic temporarily wicks out of existence. But I don't think that
I
it
think it is
counts as
summoned.
either of those. It is a summoned creature that it'll wink out of existence.
You magically summon the Drake bound to you.
I guess the word is pretty obvious then. So it runs out. It runs into the sphere and would wink out of existence immediately. But isn't destroyed. So when the or is it? Yeah, it does seem to be a summoned creature. Paste. Temporarily wink out of existence. Such creature instantly reappears in the space is occupied when it's not in the sphere. So yeah, it'll come back when the sphere is moved. Okay. All right. No, you're outside the anti-magic sphere. Well, he will because he's got more than one eye. But anyway, yeah, I know. I'm being superfluous. Facetious. All right. Sure. All right. Oh, I'll check that out. Spells. An active spell or other magical effect on an object is suppressed. Doesn't touch targeted spells. Spells and other magical effects have no effect. They can't target it. That's right. All right. So it'll work on you. Won't work on Morgan Finnick. Or will it? Targeted spell. Spells and other magical effects, such as blah blah blah, that target a creature have no effect on that target. So yeah, so the spell still goes off. They just don't have an effect on the targeted creature, which is important because it means if the any magic field fades, you won't suddenly get the benefits of the spell. Indeed, that's right. Well, it is a number 2, and if you've had 2, then Hitchcock will tell you there'll be a third. So, the important Beholder battle is yet to come.
Sorry?
The Beholder takes a legendary action.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. The only person he can target, apart from, I guess is one's dead, so the only person he can target is Flightless, and it uses a Death Ray. Dexterity.
Can
Only 8 will be enough.
Thank goodness.
I reckon. Big black ray, and it kills the lichen, and a patch of lichen right behind him just instantly dies. Alright, Lady Eleanor, you're a long way from a Beholder. Oh, that's a good start. That'll do. Alright, you are very good. You get caught up in the I don't even know what the word I'm going for anymore. But the anti-magic field causes any magic that you've got to stop working. But fortunately, that doesn't include your eyes. Oh, it also takes the legendary action, and it uses it on Flightless. Oh, it is 2. Yeah, good point. Okay, it'll be random. On a 1d2, it's on a 1, it's a Steel Defender. On a 2, it's Flightless. All right, the Steel Defender gets the Wrath. Valid response.
please let it be a sleep ray?
Could it be a Sleep Ray? I think it is going to be a Paralysis Ray.
I think he's immune to being paralyzed.
Ah.
Wait. No, sorry, he's not.
All right, Constitution save.
Come on, buddy.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Interesting, it says to itself in deep speech. The mechanical construct does not seem to be affected by paralysis. I will add this to my further studies into the biological natures and anatomy of construct creatures, a book which is coming out soon on Audible.
Artisan would say he could buy it if he could hear that or understand that.
I'll get a copy.
Yeah. Better understand constructs? Hell yeah, bud.
Exactly.
Just like my whole
Alright.
vibe.
That's what I do. That's what I do best. So it shoots 3 of its eyes. A Death Ray, a Paralysis Ray, and a... Oh, that's number 3. They've actually literally taken... We'll go with Slowing Ray. He certainly does. He knows what's good around here. And a Slowing Ray. So he's already worked out that the paralysis doesn't work on the robot, so we might as well go for the paralysis on the bird to start off with. DC 16 on Flightless. Alright. 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 Interesting. It seemed to be affected, but shrugged it off. Could that be a sign of superior constitutional or mental fortitude? And as for the other ones, they'll be random. This is the Slow Ray. One is the Defender. Okay, the Defender is hit with the Slow Ray. A frosty blue color.
Can I add my... Wait, what does slow ray do? Can't take reactions. Can I add my Flash of Genius to that to make 16?
Yeah, I think that's it. You're within range, aren't you?
Sorry, one moment. Oh, no, he's just out of range.
Alright. So he is slowed down. And at last, the biggin. The Death Ray, of course, comes towards Flightless.
Oi.
Oh! 15 is indeed not enough. I think you will die. No? Maybe not. You don't take half damage if you pass. Like that's the death ray doesn't death ray doesn't do half damage on a pass.
It
Oh,
hits
so,
or it
but on a
doesn't.
fail, right? Oh, right. So yeah, you're arguing something different. Yeah, no worries. 24 points of damage as you only suffer the little death, which is embarrassing for everybody. Indeed. All right. So that was the Boulder's Go. It maintains the focus of its main eye towards the bottom sector. So I don't have a cone, but it's something like that. Finnick.
I will take my bonus action, action to dash, and I will bonus action cast Hunter's Mark onto it.
All right. It is casting spells, and the Boulder's like, no, that's against the rules. Yeah, but the spell that was the bless doesn't translate onto the targets. You're the only target of bless. The other ones can't be targeted. Ah, yeah. Okay, right. Okay, good. All right. So you maneuver around Finnick. Hunter's Market is at the end.
Yep. Action to dodge,
Alright.
bonus action Hunter's Mark.
Very good.
Not
Very
dodge,
good.
dash.
Dash. Artisan.
All right. I am going to run up here.
Yes.
That's my 30.
Yes.
And I'm going to do Tasha's Caustic Brew.
All right.
Wow, that was a fail. Okay. And then DC 14 dex save.
Okay, and so it is hit now, and it's only a little pain, but it's enough pain to really piss it off.
And then my Steel Defender will make an attack since he's about to pass. That probably fails.
Doesn't help, but it does aggravate the beholder enough that it briefly distracts it, and now it can't tell who's going to destroy it. It was going to be Finnick, rather. It's going to be Finnick. But then maybe Artisan, possibly the Steel Defender or Flightless. I guess it comes down to random. 1 is Finnick, 2 is the Defender, 3 is Artisan, and 4 is Flightless. Flightless, you are copying it right now. It's a death ray. No, it's not. Alright. It's a slowing ray. You are too quick for the slow ray. Ah, brilliant. Moog, you're caught up in the anti-magic field, which is probably not that bad. Huh. AC. There we go. I don't think they're going to be mighty enough. The AC is 18, and without any like magical bonus, say from the +1 of your Warhammer, doesn't seem likely that it's able to penetrate.
It's the end.
It is. You're doing your best, but this thing is invincible, and it takes a legendary action because that's what it does best. More sleep rays, paralyzed. No, slow, more slow rays, which is a bit sad because there's better things than slow rays. And Finnick, you are slowed by Ray.
Sweet, and I get an advantage because the anti-magic beholder shield kicks in now, right?
Aha! At last the shield is doing its job. The shield is gloating right now. It's like, fuck yeah, this is what I was made for. And, as if to prove that that's what it's made for, the shield made all the difference. You were almost quick enough. The shield's like, don't worry, I got you, bro. Sis. Rabbit.
I'm so happy I kept hold of that shield now at this point.
Ah!
I thought I'd never fight a beholder until we know.
Poor fool I. This is Beholder Killing Campaign. Alright, that was Moog's go. Flightless. Yes. Yes. Surely it will. Oh, that's kind of brutal. Now it knows why it's been, targeting the bird so much. I feel justified in my superior wisdom and intellect. Ah! Ah! It keeps rolling its eye in the opposite direction now as it tries to use disintegrate to get it out. Controlled disintegrate. Alright. And it takes a legendary action, because it loves legendary actions. That is going to be Artisan. And Artisan, at last, you too feel the joy of a death ray. Black light. Think about that for a minute. Black light. Now you're thinking about it.
Come on, buddy. Flash of genius.
Le gasp. And what is the genius move that you do that prevents your death?
Jumps behind my shield.
Yeah. I guess I see it coming straight for my face, and I just matrix dodge.
Just too smart. Understand its trajectory. It ain't going there. Alright. That's the end of its legendary reactions, quite thankfully. And Lady Eleanor. Alright, that's just cheating. Alright.
Nani?
Here we go. Might or spite. No, two of them will hit. Very good. She means business. Here we go. Oh, that's nasty. So 25 and another 27. Far out. That will execute this horror.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty injured already. And we get it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It looks even worse than the one on the ground.
That's a way to do it.
It was actually. That was, some good boulder fighting, to be honest. I wasn't sure. I was thinking, I guess we should all just stay in the anti-magic field, and that way it can't target us with its eye rays. But you guys did exactly the opposite. Spread around it completely, and that was I think that was probably the only two valid tactics.
Can I try to find its death ray eye and then take it?
Yes, absolutely. You saw which one was. You saw that the black eye function a bunch of times. So you go and find its death ray eye.
I'd like to
Can
go
I-
for that. And then there's disintegration. Is that a survival, right?
Yep, absolutely. It also has its disintegration one, so make a survival check. DC's 15, and each eye is worth 100 gold, so there are 5 eyes.
I'll
Yep.
just roll 5 then.
Yeah, just roll 5, yeah, so... provided someone's giving you assistance, then they'll all succeed, and someone probably would be. So you get the following eye rays. You get the charm ray, the paralysis ray, the slow ray, the disintegration ray, and the death ray.
Hey, call me the eyeball collector.
There we go. 100
You want-
GP each.
Do you want like containers for that? Got some of those.
I'm just gonna hold them in my hands as I go over. I like, want to look in my eyes.
Just holds them up to his face like. "Ugh."
So is this
They'll have a
something
whole-
like just a meeting at the schoolyard where some planned place where they're going to come fight it out, or was this just someone's lair or house that the other one came knocking to?
Yeah, it doesn't look like a lair. There's no indications that either of them have set up some kind of defences or living quarters. So it might have just been a pair of wandering beholders, or as you suggest, they may have met for a rather formal duel. Your characters might not know a lot about beholders, but they are lawful, and it would not be unthinkable for them to arrange a chance to prove their superiority in a relatively even circumstance.
Would anything be salvageable from the other beholder?
Sure will. Let's find out what is.
Finnick, want to help me out with this? I think he had the best survival.
Yeah, that's fine. But I've got a challenge for you now. I want a headpiece of Death Ray. We're out of this. We're out of the Underdark.
Ooh.
Or I want like on the palm of my hand the Death Ray, so I like just fling it up and like Death Ray people. Ooh, new rays.
New rays.
Is that 3 new ones?
5 new ones. They both had 5, though only the one that we killed still has its central eye. The other central eye was destroyed.
Like a ranger now. I'm collecting random bits of anime.
Butcher.
Do
Can I
they look
use-
meaty and tasty?
Do eyeballs ever look meaty and tasty to
No,
Moog?
just the sure, but did the beholder meat? Does the
The
flesh
beholder.
look good?
Oh no, it's rubbery. It'd be like it's not unlike the fat on the outside of pork. That big layer of fat. It's a bit like that, but it's not that much like that either, because it's much more rubbery and kind of like chewing. Not foam, but yoga mats.
Why?
Edible in the Vegas sense of the word, but not palatable.
Is there any way to make a fire?
Absolutely.
Og makes a
Yeah,
fire.
Assuming we have some fuel. Do we have some fuel?
Is there
There's no
mushrooms
water.
or?
Oh, mushrooms don't burn real well. They smoke up, but they don't burn real well. You probably get enough like charcoal and coal to at least get some coals going. Not a fire per se, but it's heat.
Before he puts it on the fire, can I look in, like, I guess the appendix of my arms and equipment guide and see if there's anything else worth salvaging from it? Before
The
he
eyes,
chows down?
yeah,
That's it?
definitely. Yeah, and the main eye, yeah. So each of the eyes has its own values that you could probably imagine. A sleep eye might be useful in sleep potions. You get the idea. The central eye is useful in the manufacture of, say, this shield. The shield that we're carrying, the anti-beholder shield, uses a beholder's eye as it's one of the components.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You can have
Carrying it around is pretty difficult. They're not small, they're fucking 4 or 5 feet tall, these eyes, so not sure how you're going to carry it, but...
Traps it to still defend. Just another eye on top of a same size-ish eye, a metal eye.
A bit like carrying a sunfish,
I
So
want
I
to be
was
able to
thinking-
fit it in the bag of holding, right?
Not too
So
big.
I'd be thinking we should go back and end that cleric and send his head down, or whatever's left of him, to the vampire and ask her if she'll tell us where to get out of here. She's from the north, from the surface. She knows how to get up there.
Well, we got out of a pretty big deal. Is there a way out of this cave?
There is, yeah. That's right. The beholders have come from different directions, and one of the beholder came from up this direction.
Came from somewhere.
I'm pretty sure we'd take him. And we could be in the favor of the vampire.
Nor would Eleanor.
It's an idea. Not if we did her a favor, took out the cleric.
Because vampires never betray people.
Never. She seemed nice enough.
Especially with the prophecy, if it's anywhere true, anything she says to us could be the vampire's lie.
Yeah.
So I make a little fire and start looking for a piece that looks tasty. And
Very good. You pan-sear up some beholder. And the best part is the eye of the beholder. That's where the beauty is, the tastiness. But you see yourself up a bit of beholder, and it's fucking awful. You need to make a constitution saving throw. You have advantage because of your poison resistance. Alright, that's very bad. Do we take a rest here?
yeah,
Would a 14 beat it, or...
I'm
No.
blessed.
Who knows? We don't know.
Oh, he's blessed as well.
Alright, go ahead and make
That's-
that blast roll. Yeah, so not blessed, yeah.
If we're going to rest here, I will give him a flash of genius on that to make it at least a 14.
DC is 16, unfortunately, and so the Moog turns a shade of purple. Not immediately, but he looks pretty visibly ill.
Obviously it was the beholder stuff that probably made him ill.
We've been trumpeting around in the Underdark for a while now, and we've been on some pretty randy adventures before then, so we've done some pretty mad shit. But recently, he ate beholder flesh and then turned purple soon after it. Now, correlation is not causation, but
if the meat is poisonous, could I use a sample of it to make a cure for the poison?
potentially.
Mhm.
That's no
Okay.
fun. Totally not fun. This game sucks. See, I'd say we should go back to level 1, but then there'd be no beholders, so, compensation. That's right. Gotta have both.
Didn't we run into our first beholder at like level 4 or 5?
Probably. Probably. Alright. So we spend a rest here, long or short?
Long one.
Alright. Then, Morg, roll a d12. Carrick, flightless, a d12. Artisan, a d12. Okay, Artisan, a d70. 3 hours have passed. Right up the top. Okay.
Did how many hours have passed?
So far, 3 hours have passed.
Okay.
Okay. After 3 hours, those of you, yeah, no, after you get your full rest in. 6 hours passed, and you all wake up, and another 2 hours pass, and we've spent 8 hours here, and there's been no further disturbances.
In those 2 hours, could I have been putting mending on my boy to get him up to full? It takes 1 minute. He gets 2d6. So
Sounds good. Yeah, so you can just consume those spell slots, and that's fine.
it's a cantrip.
Oh, right. Yeah, so you always restore your dude to full hit points. That's the nature of the class. That's right. So there's not much ceremony that we need when we finally head off. Are we carrying the beholder's central eye?
I'd say I'd want to.
And you're just draping it over the steel defender?
I would have had some leather, so I guess I would have bound it in leather and done so.
Alright, it's a big jelly-like substance, quite wet. When you think of a fried egg, there's tension on the yolk, but you could pop the yolk pretty easily and it'll leak out all the fluid, and that's what you've got here. It's quite vulnerable, but has its own natural thick skin. You pack up the eye, you've got the other eyes, and we're heading off to the surface, and the tunnel that we're on, we will now call the main tunnel. Though it wasn't always the main tunnel, it is the main tunnel now. It's our main tunnel. As we travel along our main tunnel, we reach a side tunnel that leads off in a roughly southwesterly and down direction, roughly. And you can hear the sound, the tinking of hammers hitting steel. It sounds like a typical anvil or forge. And you can also smell the scents that are also reminiscent of a forge that emanate from this side tunnel. The side tunnel is probably about 8 feet wide. The main tunnel is probably about 10 or 12 feet wide. And the main tunnel is completely quiet, save for the odd bat that flies past or the odd snake that snaps at the bats. Whereas there's quite a lot of noise coming from this side tunnel.
Artisan definitely wants to go check it out. Fellow crafter is awesome. Does anyone else oppose that?
Let's go.
I guess I want to send my bird ahead just to see if he sees anything that we should be worried about. Unless we want a ranger to sneak up.
I don't really mind either way. Either way is good with me.
The bird's very vulnerable in the Underdark. As you've already seen a lot of snakes that snap at any bat that goes past. Snakes ignore us. They're not bothered by our presence. We're too big to swallow. But a thing like a homunculus is going to attract a lot of attention from the snakes that have adapted to eating creatures exactly like that.
Okay, then. If Finnick would like to go.
Guess I'll sneak off again.
I'll give him my bird just in case it does need to fly back in case of emergency.
Sure. All right. Are you passing without trace again this time, Finnick, or not?
Yeah.
No problems. Go ahead and make the roll. Okay, that's cool. After a journey of 1,000 feet, perhaps a quarter mile through twisting tunnels that lead gradually down and basically in the wrong direction, more or less, you're looking on an expansive cave that is pretty well illuminated. The whole thing is probably 300 feet wide and 120 feet tall. And there's not a lot of detail within this cave, but there's a lot of activity. In the center of the cave are a series of forges. They've just got they've anvils and furnaces, buckets of water and different pots of metal that are superheating and being poured into molds and so on. And it looks like there's a whole industrial process going on here. Why they've chosen this location exactly is difficult to determine, but it is very spacious, I guess. There's that. And there's about 4 of these anvils and forges, 4 workstations, if you will. And the people who are working on them seem to have serpentine qualities to them. Slitted eyes, forked tongues, slightly scaly skin, but they look fairly indistinguishable from humans, apart from the fact that that they have these snake-like attributes to them.
Ah, okay. I'd like to just return back to the group.
Yeah. One more thing was, it looked like the whole thing was in the shadow of a fortress that had yet to be constructed. If you think about what a castle would look like when you haven't even finished building the first level, then you might have an idea of the structure that they were coming up with.
Cool. Guess when I get back to the group, I'll just say there's a group of evil lizardmen over there, group of evil snake people doing their crafting. I believe they're called Yuntai Trueblood, right?
Probably.
Okay.
Anyway,
Guess,
it's a group of people in the Underdark. I'm just going to assume they're evil.
That's racist, but anyway, I'm not going to criticize you for it.
I wonder if they're tasty.
Haha.
They're humans. You've eaten one. Is your goal to eat every race that lives in the Underdark?
New goal.
Every one of my foes.
Only when Mo checked out his Steam achievements and saw that was achievement, he's like, fuck yeah. I'm gonna get that.
I'm to munch my way through the Underdark.
That's alright.
Yeah. Imagine him and Artisan getting into it later and he kills and tries to eat the wood and metal.
There we go.
Then we find out if Warforged blood is poisonous.
I guess we do. So we could go back to the main tunnel and continue our journey, or we could go up and meet these enterprising 1T.
Maybe they know how to get out of here. Every encounter is worth a question. Who wants to go speak to him?
Not really.
Way to the surface we need.
We can mark this on the map, and if we get lost again, we can go talk to him.
Everyone we seem to ask about the way out either seems to give us one that doesn't lead out or doesn't have one out.
Got to keep trying. It's like a dance. How many girls will say yes?
Who wants to mark it for maybe later, and who wants to talk to him? I'm for a maybe later. Mo
Who
sounds
knows what
like
we what are we gonna run into next? Another beholder? It seems like these people talking to. Maybe a dragon. See if they'll be. Vampire wasn't up to speaking.
Ironically, the Bodak was having a talk fest. Those things never speak at all, and they've even got a language.
Aye.
They may not even speak the same language as us. Speaking of that, does anyone speak, what is it, 1T? Is that the language?
No, I don't speak snake people.
Parsec. Arsehole tunnel.
Maybe they know common. Maybe they know a way to the surface. How about we roll the dice on it?
How many
Go
people
around the
were
table
in
and roll the
did he
dice
see in
on
the
it.
room?
Maybe 50.
50 people in the room. Okay. And 1T, I think, are pretty good at fighting. If I do
One
recommend.
just a bunch of emotional snakes that just don't care about death. Emotionless, I mean. Emotionless snakes that don't care about death.
You could make a history check to get an answer to that if you want.
Can I
They're
help
making a
him?
castle.
I think you're better just to make the history check. I've got stat intent.
I have 6 on it.
And
Huh.
-1.
There
Okay.
you go.
Yeah, not scholars. It's pretty nasty. Pretty nuts. Oh, you mean like +8? I thought you meant intelligence of 8.
A 20.
Right. Yeah, that's
Nice.
a bit different.
Nice.
Yeah, my mistake. Anyway, 1T. Yeah, they are emotionless. They are very difficult for humans to understand. They seem to be cool and calm and without any passions, but that's not true at all. They are a deeply community-based civilization. Like, humanity don't often help their neighbors unless it's out of self-interest. Like your neighbor's going to help you one day, or you borrowed a cup of sugar from them and you want to pay it back, that sort of thing. Like humans in general act on a family level rather than a community level. But the Y&T are very much community based rather than family based, partly because they have orgies. They all get into a ball. And like no one knows who the father is in Y&T society, because like they just have these massive festivals of fertility, and that is not for debauched reasons, but rather to create a community to raise the children, and thus every male is a father, and every female is related to everyone else. And this is a long way of explaining that the Y&T really, really love their kids. They have so many of them, and a lot of them die, like turtles. They do die en masse. But the ones that they do keep, they venerate and they protect, and they do everything that they can. They literally die for them. So if you think of the kind of passion that human parents tend to show for dying for their children, the Y&T do it for the entire community. But from a human perspective, they sacrifice people for their dark gods and peddle in poisons and drugs and bear an ancient grudge against humanity to one day get revenge for the destruction of their civilization. So they come across as evil on a superficial level.
From that check, does he know if they're welcoming of outsiders or helping?
They tend to be a trade-based society. Like they tend to be a trade-based society. So if they can get something out of it, then they will. But on the other hand, what they can always get out of it is a sacrifice. So if they think that the sacrifice is going to be better for their religion, then they'll do it. If they think the business will be better for their economy, then they might go with that instead. Maybe the babies just need fresh meat. Then the situation is decided much more easily.
I'm not really up for taking our chances with these people.
Yes, let's be racist and continue on.
I mean, mainly from that description of they want to sacrifice more than they want to trade.
I know, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, and that's probably the sentence that does matter the most. It's like going down to a street corner, right, to buy some drugs. Maybe they'll sell you some drugs, and maybe they'll just beat you and take your wallet. It all depends on what they think is better from their long-term perspective. Y&T are a bit like that. They're kind of the immigrant drug dealers at the end of the corner street.
I say we
Yes,
roll the dice.
even. Who wants to roll the dice and who wants to leave?
Want to leave.
All right, 2 and 2. All right.
I'm leaving as well.
Very well. We leave instead, and we go back to the main corridor and continue along our journey. That was Artisan's roll, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Finnick, a D12. You must be getting close. All right. So Finnick, does it mean anything to you when hundreds of bats fly in your direction? They're not like at your face, but up high. They're not trying to run into you or anything. But bats, first comes 1, then 2, then 5, then 100 bats just straight past.
That probably means they're running from something.
Or nesting or leaving their nest.
Could
Yeah.
be either
Oh,
of those
that.
things. Any of those. I don't know,
Does
well,
anyone
nothing else
notice this
happens.
besides Finnick?
Oh yeah, 100 bats. You can't not notice
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I say we follow the bats.
They're going back the way we came.
Can we tell what the grade is, up or down?
Ooh, more or less, we're going up. In a general sense, we're going up.
So what?
And they're coming
Mm.
down.
Maybe they're coming home to roost.
Yeah, maybe nighttime. Or daytime, sorry.
I think that'd be a good sign.
Moog, a D12. Very good. You come across a stream. It's a cool river stream, and it's got fish from the surface in it. These fish have eyes, and these frogs have eyes, and they look just like normal frogs, not albino white glowing frogs or anything. Not hypnotoads. Looks like, well, we're still in the Underdark, but this looks like it could be a pool in the forest, but it's not.
Is this water going into the cave or out of the cave? Is it spring water?
No, it's coming from outside and coming into here. So yeah, it's we're more or less following a waterfall at this point, but it's not a big enough waterfall that it gets in our way. It's just a trickle, but it's kind of slippery, and we are scaling up old waterfalls that in flooding, in times of flooding, this place would be filled with water. But at the moment, it's just a trickle.
It's always raining in the dales.
There we go. Always raining in the dales. Flight list, a D12. D70. Alright.
Draw a hunting party.
That's right. With fire giants.
And two beholders.
Hold it. D70, please. Oh, you got a 6. You got a 6. My mistake. Thank you. I don't know why I didn't register that. Oh, right. Fucking hell.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's one of the weirder ones. Okay. You keep following the river, and it splits off from the passageway. So, if we want to follow the river, which appears to be going to the surface, we can still do that. Or we can take a drier tunnel that doesn't have any water within it, and it looks like it might be going up as well.
I'm voting. I think maybe the river, because it actually had the fish from the surface in it.
Yeah.
That'd be a good sign.
All right. So we go up the watery passage, and it is leading to a mystical grove of ferns and fungi, and the little illumination source is called Phase Rest, the small glowing lights that that illuminate the place like this. We are coming up a small trickly waterfall into a garden, and it sounds like that garden is occupied. Creatures are speaking in halting goatish tongues, but in a language undercommon, which I don't think any of us speak.
Is there daylight above?
No daylight, but ferns would indicate that we can't be too far away from the surface. So there's not a lot of ferns in the Underdark. There's not a lot of sunlight. There's no sunlight here either.
Guess we should talk to the weird goat people.
Yes, so. All right, I'll take that as that's what we're doing. So we go up into this garden of ferns and fungi and phase rest, And there's about a dozen of them, 10 or so, of these huge satyrs. They stand some 8 feet tall, and that's not including their horns, are another 18 inches tall. A dark fur, dark skin underneath that dark fur, big bullish snouts. And each of them carries with them a silver cage. And within that silver cage is like a fairy, a little Tinkerbell, a woman maybe 6 to 8 inches high, that has stunted wings growing out of her back, and they're swinging back and forwards on their little swings, or sitting glumly in the darkness, or singing a little bit, while the goat people merrily chat among themselves.
Flightless history check. Yeah.
Can I help him?
I suppose, yeah. All right.
Boy.
Didn't need it.
Brilliant.
You said what, bud?
Yeah, exactly. A complete guide to satyrs and Tinkerbells. All right, satyrs are notoriously sexually active, and their sexual improprieties are legendary. They're not the nastiest or cruelest or most bloodthirsty of monsters, but they are among the randiest. And they'll mate with anything. You don't know any specific relationships of satyrs with fairies, but given that one is in a cage and one is not, it looks fairly exploitative.
So they're like Pan, right?
Yeah, exactly. A pan is a satyr. That's right. Yeah.
What are the fairies? Are the fairies good, or are they?
The fairies are probably sprites, which are maybe what we think about when we think about fairies. Small and whimsical and relatively harmless, and live at the bottom of your garden and bring good luck to your family. Well, yours, that's right. I'll steal your thoughts. Yeah.
Phoenix from the Feywild. Who knows?
Yeah, so he'd know all of these things. Yeah.
Finnick, what say you? He's your kin.
Are satyrs generally friendly?
If they can get something out of you, they're not. They're generally too friendly. Actually, that's really their problem. Is that they think that everyone likes them, but people don't always like them. You know, like a kid that really thinks that he's cool and gets really upset if you don't reciprocate that feeling.
Okay. I guess if they hadn't spotted us yet, I'd just approach from behind and speak in Sylvan. Just greet them in Sylvan.
Oh, traveler! What a surprise! We mean you no harm, so do not wish harm upon us.
We are just seeking a way out of the Underdark.
Ah, I see. Well, it may be that I can help you, but why would I?
Okay,
So we got 3 females.
Bring up our women.
Kidding.
We have a dwarf that is willing to breed with you.
Oh, good. Does he have a nice beard to hang on to?
I'll look back at Moog. Yes.
Kidding. I never said that.
What can you do for me?
We have trade goods.
Ah, then we would be willing to trade as well. We do not have much, but we do have powdered fairy wings.
Ah, is that why the fairies are in the cages?
Ah, that is one reason. They are also in the cages because if we let them out, we will get a divorce.
What? I'm
not letting my wife out. She'll fly away in an instant.
That doesn't seem like a very healthy marriage. Maybe you should marry somebody more willing.
Maybe you should mind your own business and respect my culture.
Very true. Fair enough.
Now, would you like to buy some fairy dust?
I think we'll buy information for how to get out.
Very good. What have you then? Show us your goods. Is it magical? Is it comfortable? Is it smokable?
Translate that last bit and say, so what do we want to offer them?
She got some beholders. Goo. Beholder goo is magical, is it not?
Did we bring just the beholder flesh? I thought we only brought the eyes.
That's goo. It's basically.
We've got a couple of double eyes. We could offer them like some of the eyes.
They can get more fairy poon.
So, offering them a beholder eye?
Oh, this is interesting. What does it do?
It used to shoot death rays.
Wow! I think that we would sell this to a witch somewhere.
Make a fine profit.
Yeah.
Trade for exit?
Very well. If you follow this path for another few hours, it will inevitably lead you to the surface. Yes, I guess that's a good point.
You slap a guidance on it.
Because Faye. It did seem like a pretty simple and generic answer. But a couple of hours isn't that far either, you know. So if it's only a couple of hours away, then we're pretty damn close. On the other hand, you point out that it was about as ambiguous as just follow the road.
What, a 17 give us any more?
That the guy seems happy with his beholder eye. Yeah. Alright, and you make a wisdom check. Treat the last roll. So basically you can't get a deception or rather an insight check of less than 17, is that right? Yeah, he seems pretty happy with his purchase, like fairly satisfied. So there doesn't seem to be any maliciousness to him, though. You know, the fact that you don't believe in non-consensual marriage and keeping wives in cage, and so that irks him. That irks him because you should mind your own business.
Before we leave, Mr. Satyr.
Yes, Miss Rabbit.
I know you're all married to your fairies, but would you be up for selling them?
Oh, yes, perhaps. Yes, would you be wanting to buy my wife permanently, or are you just going to rent her?
Buy permanently.
Ah, yes, yes. How much should I sell? I think 1,000 pieces of gold. I'll sell you my wife for 800. I'll sell you my wife for 600.
For the lot.
And then they get together and they get together and form a cartel and they talk a little bit. 5,000 for all.
How many are there?
I think there was let's see. It's 4d6, was it? Let's see. I need to bring it up now. Maybe I closed the I didn't. There it is. Okay, cool. There are 44 of them. They each have wives, so there are 8. 8 fairies and 8 satyrs.
How about we work that down to 3,000 and another beholder eye?
I think it should be higher. I agree with the price. and they bicker among themselves, and because they start undercutting each other, they get back and they huddle and they form a cartel again, and they agree 3,000 on a beholder eye.
Sweet. So I'm going to hand over my 3 gems that worth 1,000 each and a beholder gem.
Ha! But you didn't say that you were buying their wings.
Their wings are attached to them, right?
Not for long.
And I'll take the wings.
No, it's too late. I'll sell you mine with wings. And the cartel behavior falls apart, and you end up getting the original deal of 3,000 with a beholder eye.
Sweet. So I guess I'll collect up all the pixies.
Thank you so much. You've saved us from a life of servitude, a terrible life with horrible men.
So, do you want to be probably free once we get to the surface? So it's
Yes.
got a better chance.
Not down here. I mean, I'd like to be out of my cage, please, but I won't let you out of my sight. It's dangerous down here.
I think once we get out of the grove, just in case they try to recapture you, they are pretty... As you see, they've already tried to go back on the deal.
They trust in your instincts, knowing their husbands as well as they do, and allow you to carry them away before setting them free, and they will, of course, as mentioned, accompany you as far as they can.
No fake creature should be trapped in a cage.
No, and probably no wife either. May have. And she'd be perhaps satisfied with the way we deal with Zolf. Abala probably would have been quite violent.
Who's a Bala?
Our desert girl who a friend of Eleanor's.
The one who's still fighting in the desert for her life. Yeah. Thing.
We might be. We head off. Okay. And artisan, a D12, please.
Come on, baby.
Yes.
Still updating that mud map as well.
Very good. Very good. Okay, now I have to make a decision myself. Alright. Alright, so you emerge up at last on the eastern side of a mountain range. You can see the fresh air, the trees stretching out, the hills stretching out beyond, the forest some 50 miles beyond that, and a small town which may very well be Dagger Falls, only a half a day's journey away from here. But we are fairly high up in the mountains. And it's not going to be a very direct route to get down. We'll have to go forwards and back as we try to find the best pathway down and out of the mountains. But we have made it, and we emerge in the daylight of the early morning.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back.
Nice. I guess once we reach the surface, it's a turn to the pixies and be like, you may leave now, or you may continue to accompany us.
Hooray! This is the best day ever! And each of them give you a kiss and promise that if you ever need to get married, that you should look them up. And the fact that you're a girl or a rabbit means nothing to them because you have a kind heart. And so I'm recently divorced, and give me a call.
Wave goodbye.
They give you another kiss, and then they leave. Come to the border forest, and look me up.
I managed to get out really close to where they live. That's weird.
Yeah, that's right. It's not so far.
It's
Yes,
probably going to get re-kidnapped.
they may. That's possible. It wouldn't be unheard of.
They managed to
Alright.
get kidnapped in the first place, so.
Yes, sir.
They are creepy.
Yes,
Just
they
like
are.
that wizard.
So I guess time to make our way through the mountain.
Alright. And where are we headed?
Guess to the closest town, right?
Yeah.
Alright. Probably going to be Dagger Falls. And so we arrive at the town that is probably the closest thing that we have to a hometown later that afternoon. And our arrival is greeted with great happiness. Everybody's really stoked to see you. And the guards recognize you, even if you don't necessarily recognize them. And they give thanks that you have returned to them, and want to know all about where you've been. And I think the last time that we left, we took the slaves through the forest. I'm pretty sure the last time we were here, we had 40 women with us, so it was quite a kerfuffle.
Was that the
No?
case?
Isn't that the most recent time that we've been here? No. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. And we spent like a month in Shadowdale. Yeah.
A lot of interesting people. A lot of interesting looking people in this map.
Yeah. You'll find their names in the it's called the World, then Daggerdale, and small descriptors of the people will be found within the World Dagger Falls.
I think we should go talk to Randall Morn about what the Zentarum now have. We can just say that we were captured, we fought our way out, took some of the material, and escaped into the Underdark. Don't say that we were being double agent kind of thing.
Oh, did you manage to make it out with any of the adamantine?
I guess I would, if no one's opposed to it, pull out my 2 bags of holding and produce 1 handful of mithril ore and 1 handful of adamantine ore.
Wow, that's worth at least as much as its weight in gold. It looks like you hit the mother lode there.
Yes, but their Zentarum have much more of it.
What are they going to do with it?
I'm not entirely sure. Are the Zentarum known for having really good smiths?
Yeah, they're a war machine, so
Okay.
they need decent smiths. Not necessarily good ones, but they can mass produce weapons. That's what they do.
Skilled enough to produce adamantine stuff?
Maybe.
Hmm.
Like somewhere within their war machine, almost certainly, right?
Yeah. Most likely they're going to begin their move on the Dales with the unstoppable weaponry and armaments they now have.
Well, that's not good news.
Not quite. We do have 500 pounds of mithril and adamantine. They don't have any mithril.
All right. Well, they finished their conquest of Hillsfar now, so I suppose that means the whole Moon Sea's under their sway now. Though from what I hear, Hillsfar's still giving them trouble. Even they conquered the place, even they got through the walls. The whole place is in open rebellion, just like Flayn to the north. So might be that the Zentarum will be ready soon, but I think they still got a few problems at home they need to deal with. They're going to consolidate their control before expanding down into our parts, but I could be wrong, and if I am, there wouldn't be much to stop them from turning up if they did.
Did the red-haired lady, I forget her name, did she mention moving on the Dales? I believe she did, but I don't quite remember with Isabella, and then Isabella told us what they talked about.
Right, no, I don't really remember either. But what they said probably matches what he said, that Hillsfar has fallen, but it remains a hotbed of sedition and rebellion. Hillsfar is a gladiator city, and it's a gladiator city with a really violent, human nationalistic, racially divided presence. It's a whole human nation, and the people that live there take their national values extremely seriously. So it's one thing to conquer a people like that. It's another thing to keep them suppressed when their natural instinct is to hate and to fight and to not be ruled by anyone except for themselves. Like the idea of being ruled by an army that incorporates goblins and beholders and tieflings is just like, I would rather die than serve such a force.
What is a good guesstimate for how much adamantine worth that dragon is? Oh, okay. I want to give that number to him so he just knows how much they have now and if he wants to do anything about it.
What would you suggest? Send in a strike force to go and take it back or something? Some such? That strike force is going to be you.
We need to be talking to the dwarves.
I think the most important thing you got to consider is what you're going to do with all that money. Talking to the dwarves might be a good place to start. The amount of dwarves all moved down south way. I think like this one, I think he came from down in Cormier, all down the Stormhorns and the Thunder Peaks, like. So yeah, they're right on the very edge of the map.
This is even farther.
We can raise some. We could show my kin what we have. We raise an army. It'd be more than just us. Bring some clerics.
But why are they going to get involved when Cormier's got her own problems? Way I hear, the missing king could mean civil war down there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Teddy
sure.
Mars are better. Teddy Mar would be better for the dwarves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, any
yeah.
dwarven reclaimment is huge. Dwarves are fading, so to rally behind getting a major halls, the major halls or mines of Teddy-Mar back would be.
He's right. So yeah, the only time anyone has reclaimed a dwarven hall in recent years is Mithril Hall on the other side of the Anarok Desert. A heroic dwarf and his friends went and managed to get their homeland back. But that's a very rare instance. It happens once in a century, or less than once in a century. And we tried that 20 years ago. The dwarves gave it a good hard try, and the guy called the last King of Tethiamar failed. So there might not be a lot of spirit for reviving Tethiamar. It's a glorious, grand thing to do, but the older generation has already given up. They had to go. So if you're going to find any interest, then it's most likely going to be in the ones that we call the Thunder Twins, which is there's been a recent resurgence in dwarven population the past 50 years or so. The Thunder Blessing. There's a lot more young dwarves being born than has occurred for centuries beforehand. It's believed to be divinely ordained. Divinely ordained dwarven fertility. Pretty much everyone who's born is a twin, doubling the population. Anyway, you might find some enthusiasm among the young green-bearded dwarves who haven't whet their axes yet, but for most of them, unfortunately, like while everything Moog said is accurate, it would be a huge development, monumental. It would change civilization. They've given up. They've tried and they've tried and they've given up, and they've settled down to being second-class citizens living in the mountains of Cormia instead of to people eking out an existence in some distant realm that once belonged to their ancestors. It's just easier to brew beer and forge weapons and work in the productive mines down here for a human overlord than to risk it all for a dream that's already dead. Situation has changed. Right. Yeah. Hmm. That should inspire someone, right? All right. So what you say is correct. Um, and if you've got adamantine and mithril as evidence, and the gauntlet of Tethiamar, the gauntlet of Gauntlgrim that we hold, these things are that's the sort of stuff that would start a crusade, because it's tangible. The time is now. Yeah, that's right, and we know where Camelot is. So if you want to come, then now's your chance, or you're never going to get another one. Yeah, and so
We'll be rallying the dwarves, I guarantee it.
yeah. Well,
And
if you
we can also hire the mercenaries, whatever those dwarven mercenaries that I was working for as well.
it's just a couple 100 miles to the south, then head down there. You got the option of traveling by road, take the north ride, or go through the Shadow Gap, or you could take a river ride all the way down into High Moon. Whether you take the river route or whether you take the road route, it's going to be dangerous either way. River route might be a little bit longer, might be a bit slower, but you go by land, you're going to have to go past Tilverton. Way I heard that place is cursed. And there's plague lands in between here and there, what around Thorndale and such.
I saw the plagues on the way up here. I'd be taking my way on the land and to the boggers with your boats.
As you say, sir, but a boat's a lot more direct. It can't get lost like.
You can't get
It'll
drowned
take.
on the land either.
Well, that's true enough. That's true enough. I'm not saying one's better than the other. Uh, you head down through the river. It's going to take you all the way down to High Moon, and from there you're already into the Thunder Peaks. You go over land, then once you hit the mountain, you're still going to have to keep walking, keep looking for them dwarves. So I'm not sure what's going to be quicker, but he's right. One's certainly going to be a lot drier. All right. So if we, yeah, Yeah, sure, that's possible. You have to go right around them, but it's possible. Something like that. Still only 250 miles. It's still not a huge journey. You could do it in half a month. Oh, no more maps. They're all gone. Ain't no one making them unless we're making them. Ah, we do we? Very good. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I thought that might be the case that we had a setup like that. So yeah, no worries. It'll take some time to print out a new map, and that'll give us all some time to muck around in Dagger Falls if we want.
Is there like a general store to buy like a horse from to make the
Yeah,
journey
absolutely.
easier?
Yeah. So this general store's got a whole bunch of stuff. Player's Handbook stuff at the Player's Handbook prices, basically. It's really well stocked, considering this is a small country town, hundreds of miles from any real civilization.
We get a horse and cart.
Horses are half price.
Horses
We
and carts.
have-
2 horses and a cart.
Oh wait, we don't have horses anymore. Yeah,
I assume we lost all those.
we do have a cart though. It's in our storage shack, our warehouse. Are we going to be spending any time here, or are we just going to go?
We'll probably just brush over it, but we'll spend a few days here while Flightless makes up the map. That doesn't happen overnight. So we're likely to spend a couple of days.
Do they have any mastiffs?
Mastiffs. They do have Mastiffs, and Mastiffs are also going for half price.
Nice. I'll buy myself a mastiff.
Very good. They come trained. Yes. I'll find that for you.
How do we get in touch with the mercenary group, the dwarven mercenary group that I was working with?
You don't have any sort of networking?
I came from them, but I don't know the details on how to send a message to meet us. These guys, yeah, that's it.
What? That's so expensive. Oh, and they won't fight humans.
They'll fight whoever's in the mines of Telemir.
So it says the weaknesses here will not fight humans.
There's evil things other than humans there. You never know, they're dwarfs. The evil humans, doesn't matter. Part of the mountain. Going for a retaking of a dwarven hall. A dwarven mercenary group is not going to be saying, "Oh, we won't fight humans if evil humans have taken over it." That are also with orcs and hobgoblins. I think
guess
that's
that-
ridiculous.
It probably comes down to negotiation, but considering like they are mercenaries, normally hired for a job, that quote probably indicates that you can't really hire them to go and do to go and kill somebody else's castle if it's a human commander. But if we style this, the negotiations are open, and if we style this rather as a crusade than a mercenary act, then things might be different.
So I sent word. I don't know how I could do that, but is there?
I don't know how you can do it either. No, there's not. No, there is
that I last left him in.
in Cormier, so where we're going, 250 miles away. There is a general store, and the general store can send messages, but normally it's people like you who send the messages. There's not a lot of trade going down here on account of there being a plague. And so the traders, and therefore messengers, because traders do the messaging, aren't getting through. which means that information down in Cormier and back here is decidedly sparse. And this is a no man's land. The nearest town is Tilverton. Tilverton is apparently completely destroyed. The only town in between here, unless you count Serpent Bridge that is here and Shadowdale that are here, and they're in our vicinity anyway, so they can't help us. Once you get past Serpent Bridge or Shadowdale, the next town, the next village is Thorndale, and that's the place where you burn the bodies. That's where all the plague is. So long and the short story is that the nearest town is plague-ridden, the nearest city is destroyed, and there's nobody trading down that way anyway. So getting a message is difficult. Possible, but difficult. Like, there'll be a group of first to third level adventurers who'll take your message for you, but it's a quest for them to do it.
We'll be there first.
Right, that's right. A tiefling, a centaur, and one of the new bunny people walk into a bar and want work.
I kind of want to make the steeds I was talking about previously, but that would take a little bit.
Yeah, I think the quicker we make a plan on Tethymar, the weaker they'll be,
Yeah.
rather than leaving it too long.
How long has it been since we left?
Maybe 5 days. Oh, since you left the town, or since you left the mines, probably. No, probably left the mines only 3 days ago. We've been gunning it. I think we only had 1 or 2 long rests down there.
Okay.
Not even a 10-day.
Not even close. No.
How long will this trip take?
250 miles is about at least 10 days. And then another 10 back, and that's assuming that negotiations only take 1 day. And that you find them straight away, which you should, because you've got a dwarf with you.
Yeah, we can head out then.
Yeah, right. And did we appoint anyone? Oh, probably no one's working there then. Unless we're paying them. Oh, that's pretty hard. This is like a town of 2... Because there is only 1 priest and she's not a spy. So it's pretty... Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, alright. So, do you choose the shepherd, or the fisherman, or the baker? They're all women, or the bakers are women. You can make someone to a spy, but there certainly isn't any spies working here. Westgate Wagons precluded. So what are you going to do about that? Just pay someone a whole bunch of money and tell them to keep their mouth shut, or can't go to the spy shop? Yeah. Alright. Find someone in some other society and bring them back here. Hmm. You do find someone. He's a halfling. He's a musician. Claims to be an arena fighter. So certainly plays music at the arena. He proposes that you join his party, and that he'll be the leader, and you'll get your share based on what he doesn't want.
What level is this guy?
It's hard to tell, but with Moog's ability to tell what level people are, he is of lower level than us. How much does it pay?
Probably.
No way, pal. Bit more than nothing, hey? That's probably a good idea. $2 a day. I'll take $2 a day, but I also want free lodging, including beer and pipeweed, and no uniform can have shoes. No shoes. $3.
Is that a halfling?
It is a halfling.
Well,
I already know the job. Like, I can probably already do it better than you. I'm sure it's very easy. Yeah, well, yes, it should be. So there. So I accept. Good. And free beer and lodgings. And no shoes. What? Buy my own beer? I need $3 at least. Alright, go ahead. Alright. Give him a wisdom saving throw. No way, pal! It's worth more than that. A standard rate for a spy is $4 a day. You want me to do your dirty work? Hey, well, you're gonna have to pay for it, pal. Uh, uh, 3 gold then. 90 a month. Make it 100 a month. Round figure. Easy to keep track of that way. Alright. He thinks that you are a really dumb boss. But he likes dumb bosses because they won't notice when the ink goes missing. You're a really bad teacher, you know that? On account of your bird brain? Nah, hey, calm down, pal. Calm down. I don't mean nothing by it. It's just you were born this way.
I don't
Bird
want to punch
brain.
him in the face.
You're a real champion, pal. I'm gonna keep this place running better than you ever seen before. You're not gonna be sorry that you invested in me. No siree. But could I advise that you talk to the rest of your party, and when you're done with your little quest, that you all come back to me, and because I'm still looking for followers who want to write my epic ballad, the story of Galero's adventures. It's gonna be called.
It'd be very long if you keep making me try to be your follower.
Yeah. Here's your prologue, pal. Take it or leave it.
You'd be like a henchman, not really a follower, more like a henchman, a minion. Ah, no, we got. I get board and lodging. Remember, I live here now. Ah, sure. No worries, pal. I'll let you know what's going on here, pal. Yeah, sure. You can count on it, pal. I'm going to tell you everything about Tesh Wave and Voonlar that you're ever going to want to know. Oh, he puts he puts it on a little slate that it's called spy stuff. It's big spy stuff circled, and he puts it with the. All right, it's in the toilet, it's in the men's toilet, with a well thumbed deaf pussy magazine. All right, no worries. He'll get to work. Got to keep his cover by doing the right job. All right. Since we've reached the end of the session here, I'll take a moment to ask you about the general idea of the campaign. I thought we'd probably get to the surface a little bit earlier than we did, but it doesn't matter. I'm glad that we did get there today. That was a bit of a final deliberation of mine that I had there. You might have noticed. Anyway, so it's good that we've got to the surface. That's great. Two things. First of all, we're going to Cormier by the sound of it to talk to dwarves. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, the Bruder Battlehammer can create an army to retake Mithril Hall.
Who?
We can.
Ah, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, Dritz's mate. Yeah. And the second one is, what are we doing with all our money? Yeah, cool. So,
does he have
Guild-
other banks? Do banks exist?
not really. Short answer is no. Like,
Okay.
a bank within Cormier will help you out within Waterdeep, but in a place like this, it's useful. So there are banks, but only in major central areas, and you have to pay banks to keep your money. They don't pay interest. You pay them to keep your money safe.
Should we start breaking it apart and leave some in Dagger Falls?
We can
Or
bury
with-
a cache somewhere.
I don't know about burying. Could we leave it with the whoever the king is, or in the horde? What
Yeah,
other guards? Is it guarded?
it has an
Well, this
arcane
stage,
lock
we'd
on
have-
it.
We'd have to pay for the guards.
Why don't we just bring it with us?
How much is a guard? Let's see. Standard wages. So
It
if they're
depends
just
what I got.
regular guards, sorry. Yep.
Ah, just saying a cart.
Yeah. That's no problem at all. They're just regular guards. What do they fall under? Smith Mason Soldier. There we go. So 12 gold pieces a month for a regular 13 hit point guard. Whether you want to have regular 12 hit point guards watching over your $1 million stash is up to you.
Nope.
But carrying it around's pretty inconvenient. It means that you can't use your bags of hold for absolutely anything else, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. If you're going to leave it here in the Zentarum warehouse, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing's stopping you. But it would be smart to hire some pretty decent guards for such a commodity.
Zentarum warehouse too. Like they could come and get it.
Zentarum are forbidden from entering this town. They're like, they've been evicted. But here's the Zentarum warehouse down here. It's our property now.
Someone will steal it.
I don't trust that guy as far as I could throw him, which isn't very far.
Unless there's powerful allies here. You're gonna have to hire an army. Zentarum are looking for you. They know where you stash your stuff.
Do they?
They have thieves. Does the woman that betrayed you? No. Why? Why don't you just be dropping off a truckload to her then?
That would also mean she has to storm Dagger Falls.
She doesn't need to storm nothing. She could hire a smart thief to come in and take it.
Then why don't we bury caches somewhere if you're against putting it in the stuff that we bought?
What are we, leprechauns? Gonna find some.
Yeah, you're throwing down every one of ours. What's your
I'm
idea?
looking for someone that might be an ally, has their own army already. Wouldn't mind a couple of chests being left there that you could trust. What about the king or the ruler?
Absolutely. It's time to go, and we'll see you all in a week's time.
Awesome.
Yes.